Bring him back up.
Oh god, you gotta clip that, Bo. You gotta clip that.
Come on, Gregory, let's go. Ba-da-bum-ba-da-ba-ba. Ba-da-bum-ba-da-ba.
It is, once again, time for Blind Dad Does, and I hope that you guys are having a wonderful night, a wonderful day, a wonderful time zone, a wonderful whatever the hell you've got going on. My name is Ira. I am a blind guy. I do try to do painting, and I do try to do stories, and I do try to do a lot of different things, and usually fail pretty miserably at all of them, but you know what? It's still fun to try, right? So, welcome on in, and Sable and Miss Kitty, thank you so much for following me. I appreciate it. I do hope that I am worthy of the moments that you spend here, and Fox and Bull, thank you so much for the raid. All of you guys look very familiar. I'm not sure why. It's like I almost saw you like 5 minutes ago or something. I don't know. It's kind of weird. So anyways, welcome on in. Tonight we are going to be doing kind of our usual thing. Oh, well, immersive. Immersive Center, you wonderful, beautiful human being. Thank you so much for following. I appreciate it. If you guys take a look at the screen right now, you will see in the center of the screen the painting that I was working on last night. I did finish it up off the stream after I ended things. I did some finishing touches and all of that kind of good stuff, so I figured I'd go ahead and show that here at the beginning for you guys. And if you want to take a look in the top left hand corner of the screen, you'll also see some of the other pieces of art that I've created while doing streaming. And I know that it may not be the best, but at the same time, I am a blind guy. I do try to do things as best as I can, but you know, it's a thing, right? When you're blind, you got to deal with stuff, but you know. So, yeah, you made it. Yeah. So Blue, thank you so much for being here too. I appreciate you being here for at least a minute. Keep safe and have fun out there. It's very lovely to have you here. So let me see if I can catch up to chat. Ollie, hello kiddo. How you doing? Miss Kitty, so you want to try a reading stream, but words are hard. Yeah, it's not easy, especially when you're like on stream to do reading, because you feel like you're stumbling all over the place and stuff like that. I definitely know how that is. So it's BS that you were following me. Well, yeah, that's okay. That's okay. I still love you anyways in person. Yeah, right, Ollie. I sound like a tour guide here. I have need of advice. Best way to put on shoes: sock, shoe, tie, or sock, shoe, tie. I do socks and then shoes and then tie. So I like do kind of like each together. So you have ADHD, and most words you say how they sound in your head. Yeah, well, I mean, that's okay, right? That's okay, because phonetics is definitely a very valid way to learn how to read and learn how to like speak the reading as well. And even if you get things incorrect, who the freak cares, right? Who cares? You're still doing something amazing. You're still reading. You know, reading for me, for those of you guys that don't know, I am an author as well. I have 14 books published, dozens of short stories out there published. I love reading and I love writing. And I think that anything that gets people into reading is amazing. Like, it's a great thing. Reading is one of the best ways to introduce yourself to things that you've never encountered before, you know? And I think that that's just great. You've been learning Japanese, and one thing you love about the language, even though people say it's one of the hardest for an English speaker, is that it's very rigidly phonetic. I have heard that. I have never tried to learn Japanese or any other Asian language, but I do know how to speak my own people's language. And so again, for those not familiar, I'm Native American. I am Miamiaki, which is the Miami tribe. I know a fair bit of the Miami language, the Miamiaki. I also know, which is an Algonquin-based language. I also know a little bit of Navajo. I know how to curse in Apache. So I know a little bit of like my own folks' languages. And I've heard, and from what I can see, a lot of the bases have some really deep similarities to a lot of the Asian languages that are out there. It's pretty interesting when you start looking into things along those lines. Papa, I've been asking anyone I think is native at the festivals and markets we've been going to if they're Miamiaki. I get such funny looks each time because it's a tongue twister. Right? Yeah, it is a tongue twister. Right. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, again, I want to welcome you guys in, and I hope that you guys are all having a great night, day, time zone, whatever it is that you've got going on. If you can't hang out, I understand. I know that you guys got pulled in here with Fox and Bull, and you've probably been a part of their evening as well. But we are going to be doing some painting tonight, and we're going to be listening to some stories. So I like doing these, number one, because it makes it easier for me to concentrate on the painting. But number two, I think that you guys get some entertainment out of it as well. You have horrid insomnia. Sable, I really definitely know how that is. I have for years had what's termed slow sleep insomnia. I have the most difficult time getting to sleep. Once I'm asleep, things tend to be okay, but getting to sleep is just, oh God, it's horrible. So you might mute and listen to music of something since you're trying to write, but you're here. Oh, you're writing tonight, Ollie? Really? Really? Do tell. You might butt and listen to Buttsick. Okay, Buttspot, whatever you feel like doing there. You were welcome to be here as well, Buttspot. Anyways, so you love butting. I love doing these little stories like this because it helps me to concentrate on like the painting itself. But number two, there is so much of our history that is getting lost more and more every day. And I think that by streaming out these audio stories, you know, from the olden days, you know, 50, 60, 70 years ago, number one, they are very entertaining. I love the way that they did them, right? And that's it. I have a passion about it because that, you know, I make my own audio stories as well off of my stories. And so it's definitely a passion of mine, but I think that like doing archiving in any kind of way is going to benefit humanity in the long run, you know? So the more that we can do this kind of thing, the better, I think. So, you know, it's got a bit of a double benefit there. So, oh, you're going to listen. Yeah. It's lore for an RP you're trying to start up. That's cool. That's cool. Fight for the Internet Archive and the legal cases they're going through. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Sable, yeah, I am. And for those not aware, Ollie is one of my kiddos. They're my youngest spawn. The spawn from my loins. M baby, right, exactly. So, yeah, let's see. You have an album I should listen to, Blind Data. It's by a Canadian First Nations dude, and it's one of the most powerful things I've heard. And it's supposed to be an archive, a concept album. Okay, yeah. If you want to send that to me, like if you want to send a link to it or the info for it, I would really appreciate it, Senator. I love that kind of stuff, to say the least. So I would totally get into listening to something like that. Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to tonight listen to some stories from the CBS radio theater. It's the Radio Mystery Theater. And these were, I think the ones that I'm going to play tonight are from the mid 50s, if I remember correctly. I've got them marked down somewhere, but I think that it's from the mid 50s. And this first story I thought I'd play is kind of like all about witchcraft and that kind of stuff. So, you know, all kinds of fun along those lines. And I hope that you guys will enjoy it, enjoy the art as well, and definitely keep gabbing, because I will gab in chat as well. I do use Spotify. Yeah, I do use Spotify. Yeah, that would be appreciated if you want to just like drop it here. I think we should have links active. If you want to just drop the link in the chat here, it should be cool to do. So yeah. Okay. Well, here we go. Let's get things started, and I hope that you guys enjoy. Thank you so much for being here. I love all of you. I'm so freaking grateful that you're all here. And like I said, I keep chatting because I will chat, and I will, like, when the stories are in between the stories, I gab as well. So
come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. Welcome to a chilling insight into the powers of witchcraft and an ancient curse. Witchcraft today is an in thing with the young, which may appear somewhat incongruous since witches, demons, and warlocks are older than the beginning of recorded time. And somehow, despite all of society's maledictions and efforts to stamp it out, witchcraft has survived, as we will demonstrate in our spine-tingling tale.
Do you believe in demons, Miss Bell?
Frankly, no.
Do you believe in God? Any God?
Of course.
Then you must also believe in angels. And demons, according to all we know about them, they are simply fallen angels, fixed eternally in evil. And although we may not know whether we are being fanned by airs from heaven or blasts from hell, it is best to be on guard. And having said that, I should not like to be Robert Anthony, whom you will meet very soon.
Our mystery drama, This Will Kill You, was written especially for the Radio Mystery Theater by Murray Burnett and stars Norman Rose and Larry Haynes. I'll be back shortly with Act One. Rage, my friends, is one of the curses of mankind. Rage thickens the blood, assails the eardrums, racks the body with a mad urge to destroy. It has been said that whom the gods would destroy, they first make mad. And that applies to all of us, even if some are on speaking terms with God or the devil. Witness a man who is consumed with rage. Theodore Rackazzi.
Honestly, you couldn't have heard me come in here. What are you breaking things for? Are you thinking of redecorating?
This is the wrong time to try to be amusing, Liz.
Well, what should I do? Ask if you've gone crazy?
Evidently you have not read this filthy, ignorant, arrogant, vicious review of my book.
Oh, of course I have.
That presumptuous idiot, Robert Anthony, to write such a review.
Oh, come off it, Ted. You know, you sound like you're back to the Middle Ages. What are you going to do? Challenge him to a duel?
I have other powers, other resources.
You're serious.
Serious? After this review, let me read just one part to you. Mr. Ragozzi, possessor of an awesome reputation as an expert on witchcraft, in this unnecessarily long book titled Demons and Demonology, has gathered the wildest concoction of old wives' tales, superstitions, and demons ever brought before the public. And, what is worse, he has given credence to them. To take witchcraft as seriously as Mr. Ragozzi does is simply childish.
Ted, he's just another writer reviewer trying to be clever.
Yes, at my expense.
At anybody's expense. You just happen to be the target of the day.
Mm-hmm. And now he is my target.
For what? A nasty letter to the editor?
For death.
Oh, sure. If you thought this review was bad, wait until you see the ones you get after you kill him.
I will not kill him.
Oh, that's a relief.
Liz, pick a date.
What?
Pick a date. Any date that comes to your mind. And the time. Write them down on this slip of paper.
What for?
Oh, to please me.
All right. What's today?
The 14th.
Here. Okay, will this do?
The 28th. 10:53 p.m. Yes, it will do beautifully. Thank you, Liz.
You're welcome. And now that we've finished playing games, can we go?
Of course. But the game is just about to begin. Have I ever remarked how well you drive, Liz?
Often, thank you.
I think that's what attracted me to you in the first place. Your driving and your legs.
I'm happy to see that you're feeling better.
Yes. Due to you, as usual.
Oh, I haven't done a thing.
Oh, yes, you have. You know that date you wrote down for me?
Yes?
Well, that is the exact date and time that Robert Anthony will die.
Oh, sorry I asked.
You don't believe me?
Oh, I thought you'd forgotten about that silly review.
Where are you going?
To the party. Ted, why did you ask me to write down the date?
Oh, a whim. It amused me to leave the amount of time that Anthony has left to live to mere chance.
Well, suppose I'd picked a date next year.
Well, that would have given Anthony more time. That's all.
You sound so certain.
I am.
What's the matter with me? Why am I talking as if there were any possibility that you have the power to kill another human being?
Why, indeed.
I can almost understand why Anthony wrote about your book the way he did.
And of course. Like Mr. Anthony, you also are a dabbler in the occult. Like him, you are an innocent, naive, playing like children with forces you neither understand nor respect. How about a bet?
On what?
On me and my powers against Robert Anthony.
Don't be ridiculous.
Oh, yes, you're afraid to trust your skepticism. It's very simply proven. If Anthony dies on the day and at the exact time we both know, then I win. If he doesn't, you are the victor. And you know once and for all that Theodore Ragozzi is a fraud and a cheat.
That part tempts me.
Then I have your word. It is a bet.
What are we betting?
Your soul.
Robert Anthony, you're not leaving the party already.
Well, I'm sorry, Carl. I just dropped by to meet your guests, but my publishers are getting uptight about my new book.
Well, everyone here is talking about the hatchet job you did on Ragozzi.
Well, why do they think I've got a bone to pick with Ragozzi?
Well, I've read a lot of reviews, but...
Look, I've had a job to do, to review a book. I never even met the man. I took off because his book was so ponderous. Instead of writing a history of demons and demonology, which would be interesting, Ragozzi wrote as if he were putting down facts.
Sorry if I touched a nerve.
It's all right, forget it. I just think there's entirely too much fuss about the review. I know a little about witchcraft, and I think it can be amusing, but...
Okay, but I hear Ragozzi's taking it very big.
Well, I don't want to hear that Ragozzi's out to get me with the same crazy, demonic curse superstitious idiots believe in.
Well, let's forget Ragozzi. What about that play we cooked up?
Well, I just told you, Carl, my publishers are getting restless. I'm spending most of my time in the library. Look, can we put it off for a week or two?
Okay.
Fine. I've got to run. But I'll call, Carl. Just to let you know I'm still alive.
This is Jennifer Bell and another broadcast of The Author Speaks. My guest for today is the man who has written the most controversial book about devils and deviltry, Theodore Ragozzi.
I am happy to be here.
Mr. Ricazzi, I must confess your book scared the daylights out of me. Was that your intention?
No, not at all. My intention was to inform, to let people know that there are forces in this world that they may not have been aware of.
Oh, well, then you're serious in your thesis about demons and their power.
Oh, absolutely.
Which naturally leads me to that review by Robert Anthony. How did you feel about it?
Well, I would be less than honest if I said I was pleased, but it caused me only a small annoyance.
Really?
You are asking the wrong question.
Oh? Well, then, set me straight.
You should not ask if I were annoyed about it, but rather how Uziel Rabdas Belet are angry about their powers being mocked.
Well, I'm not acquainted with those gentlemen you mentioned.
Which is just as well for you. You see, they are demons. Powerful demons. And if they take offense... well, I should not like to be Mr. Robert Anthony.
You're predicting that some harm might come to Robert Anthony?
Oh, I predict nothing.
Forgive me, but didn't you just issue a warning?
A warning is not a prediction. Do you believe in demons, Miss Bell?
Frankly, no.
Do you believe in God? Any God?
Of course.
Good. Then, of course, you must believe in angels. And demons, according to all we know about them, are simply fallen angels, turned away from God, fixed eternally in evil. I would like to inform you, madam, that a belief in the existence of angels and demons is an article of faith with two of our major world religions. All I say is that I should not like to be in the company of Robert Anthony during the next month.
Good morning. I see you had my books waiting for me, those 5 over there. Thank you. Well, today I ought to finish my research. I'm going to miss the peace and quiet of this library.
My name is Theodore Ricazzi. I called about a book you said you would have waiting. Ah, yes. Thank you. Oh, excuse me. Yes? It sounds absurd, I know, but I am superstitious about where I sit when I work here. Also, the light.
Oh, yes, it's okay. Sit right down.
Oh, yes, you're so kind. Oh, I'm so sorry. Forgive my clumsiness. I've knocked your books down. Let me help you.
Oh, it's all right. I can pick them up.
I cannot think how I could be so clumsy. Maybe I should wear glasses.
Don't worry about it. Accidents happen.
Yes, of course. Oh, this piece of paper is yours, I believe?
Oh, thank you.
Is something wrong? You keep looking over your shoulder.
No. It's nothing. I don't feel well. It'll pass.
Ah, yes, of course. Sir, can I help?
No, I think I need a little fresh air.
Oh, yes, of course. Sir, your books.
Oh, forget them. I'll be back when I feel better. I've got to slow down. I must slow down. There's nothing following me. Nothing. Oh, that's better. Get some control. What's the matter with me? Why do I feel I'm being followed? I'm never going to get away.
Wow!
Oh, Carl,
What's with you? Trying to get yourself killed?
I guess it looked like it, didn't it?
Well,
No, it's nothing. Carl, believe me, I was in the library and suddenly I had a crazy impulse to start running.
Bob, what's the trouble?
Nothing. There's no trouble. It's just that,
What do you expect to find over your shoulder?
nothing.
If I didn't know that your last novel sold over 1 million, I'd say you just held up a bank and were running away.
Look, forget the jokes, huh?
But,
I'm
Bob.
sorry. I really am, Carl. But leave me alone.
Whom the gods would destroy, they first make mad. But are the gods desirous of destroying Robert Anthony, or the demons? And who are the demons that are driving him? I'll be back shortly with Act 2. I am back to lead you along the dark roads of witchcraft. The demon-ridden Robert Anthony has turned to the 20th century remedy against magical spells, psychiatry, and is attempting to explain his terror to an eminent psychiatrist.
How can I make you understand, Doctor, how intensely real this fear is? I'm not imagining it. It's there. I feel it. Every minute I feel it. It's at my shoulder, behind my back, pressing in on me.
Of course.
Have you ever heard of anything like this before?
Nothing exactly similar, but fear is quite common. Most people are afraid of something.
But don't they know what they're afraid of?
They sometimes think they do.
And what do you tell them?
I think it would be best if you talk about yourself. You say you first felt this way about a week ago.
Yes. I was working in the library, and I suddenly felt I just had to get out and run.
Had anything happened that day to upset you? Anything out of the ordinary?
No, nothing, Doctor.
Have you felt this fear before? I mean, early in your life.
Well, just the usual, Doctor. You know, when my friends would dare me to jump over a large hole in the ground or something like that, but... Wait. Yes, I just remembered. When I went to college, there was a suspension bridge, a shortcut from the campus to my dormitory. Everyone took it. Well, one night I was with some friends, and we came to the bridge, and it was out. There was only one single plank, and this was a deep, deep chasm, Doctor, maybe 100 feet.
Yes.
Well, I wanted to go back to walk around it, but the others voted against that. They all walked across. And I can remember how terrified I was. I got down on my hands and knees and crawled across the single plank with the water roaring below me. I was terrified.
You're afraid of heights.
Well, I'm not comfortable with them, but...
Would you say that today you're somewhere near the height of your profession as a writer?
Oh, come on, Doctor. This has nothing to do with any fear of heights. This is...
Yes?
This is witchcraft.
Interesting. Why do you say that?
Look, we've been through it.
The review you wrote on the Riccozzi book, Demons and Demonology?
Right.
Are you sorry you wrote such a scathing review?
No.
No?
Well, I don't know.
I think you are.
Well, if I was wrong, and possibly there are such demons and spells as Riccozzi describes in his book, that would or might account for this fear of mine, wouldn't it?
You mean you think Riccozzi might have put a spell on you?
Well, it's possible, isn't it?
Can't you think of another explanation?
Can you?
Yes. Let's examine what you've told me. On the one hand, you believe that Riccozzi has put some sort of a spell on you. Am I correct?
That's all I can think of, Doctor.
Why would he do that?
Well, because he...
Exactly. Because you have hurt him severely. So your statement that he wasn't injured by your review is false, isn't it?
Well...
Or illogical.
All right, it would seem so.
Very well. If you admit that to yourself, and then think that as a sensitive man, you've satisfied your own ego with a review that you think might be unfair, where does that take us?
Doctor, do you believe that I feel so guilty that I run through the streets pursued by shadows? That I can't sleep because I feel a presence in my room? That I feel threatened every second of the day and it's getting worse by the minute? Do you really believe that?
It's a possibility.
Oh, no.
You'd rather believe in witchcraft. Why?
Doctor, you're not helping me.
If you'll examine your motive as to why you insist that Riccozzi has some power to cast a spell over you, then I think...
All right, I'm getting out of here.
That won't help.
Neither do you. I tell you, I feel that I'm going to die, and you talk about guilt? I'm getting out.
Desperate men take desperate measures, and Robert Anthony was desperate. As he ran from what he thought pursued him, he held on to the last of his sanity. In his dabbling in witchcraft, he had heard, as had everyone interested in diabolism, of Professor Thurman Anderson, an outstanding scholar and acknowledged authority in the field.
Professor Anderson?
Yes?
I'm Robert Anthony.
Oh, come in. I've been expecting you.
You have? Why?
Because I read your review and I know Riccozzi.
Oh. Then you think he might have done something to me?
I think it probable that he has tried. I won't know until you tell me what's happened. Come in and sit down.
Thank you. Professor, do you think you can help?
First, tell me why you think Riccozzi has cast a spell.
Because as I sit here talking to you, I'm eaten up by fear. I have a feeling that something is following me, Professor. Something so terrible that I can't even imagine what it is. But I'm certain that it's going to kill me.
How long have you had this feeling?
About a week.
And can you remember when you first felt it?
Oh, yes, very vividly. It was in the library.
Do you know Riccozzi?
No.
No spell can be put upon you unless the Creator has some contact with you. Did you meet him by chance, perhaps?
Well, I don't know. No, I don't think so. I haven't been very social this past week.
I can't even begin to think what it could be unless you give me something to go on. Did you have a chance encounter with anyone? Did a stranger bump into you, perhaps?
No, I... Oh, wait.
Yes?
In the library, there was a man with a slight accent.
Ragazzi has an accent.
Well, I remember he came over and asked if he could sit next to me, and as he sat down, he knocked over my books. He apologized, and he insisted on picking them up.
Anything else?
No. Yes, he gave me a piece of paper.
You took it?
Well, of course. I didn't remember whether I had actually dropped it or not.
Do you have it?
Well, yes, because I remember looking at it when I got home and wondering what it was. It just didn't make any sense to me.
Well, can I see it?
Well, sure. There you are.
Good Lord.
What is it, Professor? What do you see?
The casting of the ruins.
What? What does that mean?
I can't believe that even a man as vindictive as Ragazzi would do this.
Professor, what is it?
You see this writing?
Yes.
It is the runic alphabet. It represents an ancient death curse.
And those figures on it?
The date of your death.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
It was used many centuries ago. There are stories of younger brothers using it to eliminate the rightful heir to the throne. It has earned the reputation of being one of the most powerful of all the ancient spells. The drawback, of course, was the absolute necessity of having the man or woman casting the runes to pass the curse on directly and have it accepted.
Oh, no, I won't believe that. This is the 20th century, Professor.
Careful. Lose this paper and you lose your only chance.
Chance? You mean there's something I can do?
One thing.
What is it?
Pass the curse to someone else.
Oh, this is unbelievable. If someone else told me about this conversation, I'd say we were both fit subjects for an insane asylum. Oh, no, I can't go on this way. Professor, how do I go about passing this on?
You have someone in mind?
Do I have to know a person?
No, you could pass it to a stranger.
Well, how?
Simply brush up against someone in the street or on a bus or subway. See that he drops something. Then pick it up, and along with the package, you pass this piece of paper saying, I believe this is yours. When they accept it, they have it, and you are rid of it.
Oh, no, I couldn't do that to anybody. I just couldn't.
Why not? If you don't believe in the curse.
I don't know about the curse. I can't believe that it will actually kill anyone, but I know how I feel. That is very real and horrible.
Well?
How much time do I have?
Today is the 23rd. The date here is the 28th. 10:53 p.m.
There's not a lot of time, is there?
Plenty, if you start to pass it now.
No, I just can't, Professor. I wouldn't give this to my worst enemy, let alone... Hold it. How about Ragazzi?
I wondered how long you would take before you got around to that.
Yes, of course. I'll pass it back to him.
How?
Well, I'll just...
Exactly. Ragazzi obviously knows you. He is going to be on his guard.
Well, can someone else pass it?
No. It must be passed directly.
There must be a way.
Hello?
Liz, Bob Anthony.
Oh,
Liz, I must see you.
I don't understand.
Well, I hate to sound like an old-fashioned melodrama, but it really is a matter of life and death.
All right. Where shall we meet?
Someplace where we can talk. How about, Sherry's?
Oh, I don't think we should be seen together.
Well, that's not the kind of talk I had in mind, Liz.
I know. I still don't think we should be seen together.
You know? How?
How about the cafeteria at the zoo?
Yeah, okay, but Liz...
Half an hour. Okay, see you. Sir, I'm late.
No, you're not. I'm early. What would you like?
Oh, just coffee.
All right, I'll get it for you.
No, I really don't want anything. Why did you call me?
Liz, you wouldn't be surprised and go all girlish on me if I tell you it's because of your relationship with Ragazzi.
No.
Okay. This is going to sound crazy.
Well, try me.
Liz, I have to know everything you know about Ragazzi, not personal things, but his schedule, his plans, that sort of thing.
Oh.
It's terribly important, Liz.
Yes.
You're not going to ask me why?
No.
When I said it was a matter of life and death, I meant that. You'll have to believe me, Liz.
Well, I do.
You're entitled to an explanation. And you do?
Yes.
You know, I'm making a fool of myself. I'm talking to the wrong person. I just never even considered for a moment that you'd be in it with him.
I'm not.
But you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Well, how?
I'd rather not discuss
Well, you've got to, Liz. Don't you see that?
Isn't it enough for you to know that I realize you're in trouble and I want to help?
All right, now it's my turn to ask why.
No comment.
But, Liz...
You're wasting time in arguing. What can I do?
I've already told you. But don't you see that I'll feel better if...
If you can trust me.
Yes, exactly. This isn't just fun and games for me, Liz. It's
your life.
Then you are in on it, huh?
Look, I know about it. I'm involved, but I have as much to lose as you. Maybe more. And that's all I'm going to say.
Do you think he can do it?
More important, what makes you think he can?
Everything I know tells me he cannot.
But...
Everything I know, everything I've learned, everything that science says doesn't help stop the terrible feeling I have that something is after me, Liz. It's just waiting until it has...
10:53 p.m. on the 28th.
That's the date.
What makes you think I can help?
I have one chance to break whatever spell Ragazzi has put on me.
And what's that?
It's just a slim chance, Liz, but a chance. Just take my word for that. If you do want to help, get me the information I want and need.
I'll try. How do I reach you?
Here, this number, anytime, day or night. If I'm not there, I'll get back to you in 5 minutes.
I'll try.
Thanks. And Liz?
Yes?
We haven't got much time.
Time is running out on Robert Anthony. Whatever it is that's following him, or what he honestly believes to be following him, has a target date. I'll be back shortly with Act 3. Let us get back with Robert Anthony, under a spell, and convinced that he has now only 24 hours to live. The date set for his death is 10:53 p.m. on the 28th, and it is now the afternoon of the 27th. And Theodore Ragazzi has a visitor.
Liz, come in, my dear, come in.
I took the chance that you'd be home.
Yes, and I am, and I'm delighted. Of course, I shan't be home for long. As you can see, my bags are all packed.
Where are you going?
To my little hideaway up in Perdis. You remember it?
Of course.
As a matter of fact, your dropping in might be called providential. I was going to call you to ask you to drive me.
When are you leaving?
Tomorrow night, fairly early. I think it would be wise for me to be out of the city when Anthony meets the demons.
Oh, call it off, Ted.
I beg your pardon?
I'm asking you to call it off.
Call what off, dear Liz? You're much too modern and liberated a young woman actually to believe in demons. Or even more fantastic, that I can control them.
Don't fence with me, Ted. Call it off.
I wonder if I talked with Anthony today, would he write the same review of my book all over again? Or would he have a more open mind?
Why don't you ask him?
Well, I would like to. I would very much like to, but, well, it's not practical. By the way, you haven't said you would drive me up to Perdis.
I cannot. I'm sorry. Ted, I really want...
Not? Liz, have you forgotten our little wager?
No.
Don't you think you might owe it to me to be with me when we hear the news of Anthony's death?
Ted, I'm asking you to call it off.
Your bet or...
The whole thing.
My dear, I would like to. I would really like to please you.
Well, then...
There are others involved.
I don't understand.
When you call upon these forces for help, you're taking a very serious step. It is understood that you're not indulging a whim. These forces do not like the idea of being used carelessly. They are not to be toyed with.
Oh, I'm sure you could do something.
It's really amazing how you have come full circle in your belief in my powers.
Would it help if I said I believe everything you claim?
It would be an immeasurable aid to my ego.
I mean, would it help change your mind about Anthony?
I admire your not asking to get out of our wager. I sincerely admire you for that.
Oh, save your admiration. I'm not asking to be released. I'm telling you that I'm not going through with it.
Oh, you disappoint me, Liz. You really do. But I don't think you can withdraw.
I can do what I want, and I don't want to play this game any longer.
You have no choice.
But I do. We're talking now about my soul. I don't know whether a person has a soul or not.
Take my word for it, Liz. You have a soul.
Oh, fine. But it's mine. And I'm not giving it to anyone.
You have already committed yourself.
To what? To a bet made on the spur of the moment and not in any seriousness. I only made it to keep you happy.
Whatever your motive, you made it. I intend to hold you to it.
Hold me to what? An oral agreement?
In the circles in which I move, it is binding.
And I say no.
And that is most unwise.
Are you threatening me?
Of course. I think you should know that I will be powerless to help if you should change your mind.
I'll remember that.
I advise you to keep it very strongly in mind. And along those lines, you won't change your mind about driving me to Perdis?
I can't. Really.
Then I shall have to take the train.
That seems obvious.
I'm going to ask another favor. For your own sake, it is necessary that you be with me the day after I have won my wager. I would take it kindly if you would get me a ticket on the 9:30 to Perdis.
Ted,
I believe there is such a train. And then I'll give you the keys tomorrow.
About my...
And you can drive up the following day.
What makes you think that...
Because of our relationship, I've been extraordinarily patient with you, Liz. Now, you will do me these favors. It may predispose me to have more patience with you on the day my wager is due.
Hello?
Bob?
Oh, Liz, I've been waiting for your call. Do you have anything for me?
I don't know whether or not it helps, but he's taking the 9:30 train to Purdy's on the 28th.
9:30. That doesn't give me much time.
For what?
For what I have to do. Liz, that makes it so close. Are you sure about the train and the time?
Positive. I bought the ticket myself.
9:30, huh?
Yes.
Ah, that's going to be awfully close. Did he give any reason for picking that particular train?
Well, first he asked me to drive him up. I said I couldn't. And then he told me to get the train ticket. He said...
What? What did he say?
Oh, it's not important.
Liz, everything is important. What did he say?
He said that he wants to be out of town when it happens.
Oh, yeah, sure. That makes sense.
Bob?
Yes?
It isn't going to happen, is it?
Liz, I'm trying.
Do you have, what do you honestly think of your chances?
A lot better now than before you called.
Is there anything else I can do?
Yes, pray for me.
And you for me.
What? Why? How are you involved?
Forget I said that.
How can I forget it?
Believe me if I tell you that my problem has... Well, it has something to do with you. But I'll be okay if you're okay.
Oh, you sound like a book title.
Well, at least you can joke.
I hope it isn't gallows humor. Liz, I've got a lot to do. I have a plan. I don't know whether it'll work, but it's made me feel that I can do something. And I'm going to do it.
Good luck. I said
Bob Anthony. I didn't believe it when you called. How can I help you?
I need a makeup job.
For a TV appearance?
No. I must be disguised so that even my own mother wouldn't know me. Can you do that?
Well, maybe if you tell me what it's for, it might help.
No, I can't tell you. You'll have to take my word that it's deadly serious.
Well, how long will you need to wear the disguise?
4 hours at the outside.
How many people do you want to fool?
One. A man.
Uh-huh. How well does he know you?
Well, that's hard to say. He's not an intimate friend. In fact, I only met him once, but he knew me then.
Yeah, one more question.
Mm-hmm.
How does this guy think of you?
Oh, I suppose he sees me as a young, smart aleck.
Good. So we have to make you old. Step into my parlor.
Okay. Aren't you going to lock it?
Okay. Sit in that chair over here. Yeah. Now, relax. You're too tense.
I'm sorry.
See, now, the hairpiece is no problem. Your head and hairline are easy. But, the eyes...
The eyes?
Exactly. With the hair you have, you can't have those alert brown eyes. Let me see. Watery blue with little veins running through them. Yeah. Okay, now. Ever wear contact lenses?
No, of course not.
You'll love them. Slight effort. There. How's your vision?
Well, I can see.
Good. The wrinkles come last, and I think a little goatee. Yeah. Bushy beard wouldn't be right. Now just put your head back.
Grand Central Station in New York City at 9 o'clock of any evening is a dreary place. The waves of homebound commuters have washed away. The garish light serves only to point up the cruel deterioration of past grandeurs. The waiting rooms are almost empty. It was 9:20 exactly that Robert Anthony, carrying a small suitcase and disguised as an old man, walked slowly up to the ticket window.
Mount Kisco, one way, please.
Anthony walked slowly to the station platform where the 9:30 was about to depart. He wanted to be almost the last one to board the train so that he could locate the car that Rocazzi had selected. He boarded the train and passed through several cars, and then his pounding heart slowed. He saw Rocazzi, seated in the middle of the car, and with the seat next to him vacant.
Excuse me, would you mind if I put my valise on the rack?
Oh, not at all. Let me help you.
Oh, it's very kind of you.
Not at all. You certainly cut that close.
I'm afraid I don't walk as quickly as I used to. It's hard to get accustomed to growing old.
Yes, I suppose it is.
I hope you'll forgive an old man's curiosity, but that book you're reading...
The Dynamics of Witchcraft.
Yes, that subject has always fascinated me.
Too. Did you ever study it?
No, but when I was younger, Halloween was my favorite holiday. You know, dressing up and trick-or-treating.
Yes, I know.
Oh, that was such great fun.
Yes.
Well, I won't disturb you anymore. I know you're anxious to get on with your reading, but where are you getting off?
Purvis.
Is that before or after Mount Kisco?
After.
I wonder. I mean, I have a tendency to drowse off, you know. I wonder if when we reach Mount Kisco, it would be...
I will let you know.
Excuse me, is it...
It's the next station. Did you have a nice nap?
Oh, yes, very refreshing, thank you. I do hope my nephew will be at the station.
Yes, I'm sure he will.
What time is it?
10:20.
Are we on time?
Well, I don't know. I suppose so, but even if we're running late, I'm sure your nephew will wait.
Yes, I hope so. You know, when you get old, you seem to worry about everything.
And the young have their worries.
But they're not the same, are they?
Sometimes they are. Sometimes a young man can worry himself almost to death.
Oh, that seems such a waste.
Or even worry about dying. Yes. I have known some young people who are simply terrified of dying.
Oh, I didn't think the young gave much thought to death.
Oh, some of them do. Some of them do indeed. Take my word for it.
Well, that seems strange.
Strange? Old man, I could tell you stories that are beyond belief. Stories that... Well, I seem to be talking a lot.
Well, I enjoy it.
Thank you, but we're coming into Mount Kisco.
Oh, well, I've enjoyed talking to you. And now I'll just get my luggage from the rack. Oh, my. Look what I've done. I've dropped my bag.
Here, let me help you.
No. I've caused you too much trouble. I'll be able to... Oh, your book. I just seem to make things worse.
If you will let me do it, it will be much simpler.
Oh, yes. Thank you. But don't let me return your book. I believe this is yours.
Yes. And now you'd better start if you want to get off and meet your nephew.
Yes. Goodbye, and thank you. Wait, what?
You bastard. The paper.
Please, let go of me, my nephew.
Stop acting. You're Anthony. I know it.
Yes, you're right. And I'm getting off here.
Not until you tell me where you hid the curse. That paper you passed to me.
Missed your train.
Damn the train. Where is it? The paper. I'll do anything, but you know how close it is. This very little time. I beg you, please, for the love of God, tell me where you put that paper.
It's in the book. I slipped it in the book when I gave it back to you.
The book? Where? Oh, my God! Catch it, Anthony! Grab it!
No way, Rocazzi. Get it yourself.
It's blowing away. You know I'm lost if I don't get that paper. Come back! I'll get
at you! Look out, Zay! Look out, the train!
The end of our story of witchcraft and demons. The obituary notice said that Theodore Rakotsi met his death when he inexplicably ran in front of a southbound express at the Mount Kisco station. Inexplicably? I'll be back shortly.
Oh, the wonders of the worlds we weave when we mess with the dark powers, right, my friends? Indeed. It gets a little scary when you're messing with the dark powers. So I started on one of these paintings, and I wasn't too satisfied with how it was coming out, so I decided to start a different one, and this time around I think I'm getting a better handle on what I'm aiming for, what I'm shooting for, the darkness, so to speak. We'll see what happens. We'll do another story for you guys. Let's see which one wants to come up next. Ah, yes. This story. Let's see how it goes.
And now, Mystery Theater.
Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. Lend me your fears. It happens now and then that a man will vanish without warning, disappear completely, without leaving a trace. Or a man will suddenly lose his memory. His body remains, but his mind has gone. What is essential in him leaves us, and we are left perplexed, mystified, frustrated. All we have to go on is rumor, speculation, theory. And since we cannot explain it, after a while, we tend to stop thinking about it. Until it happens again. To somebody else.
You're back. Oh, my husband, you're back. What? You won't even embrace me.
Who are you?
Who am I? What kind of question is that?
How can you say you're my wife?
We've been married for more than 15 years.
No, we haven't.
What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say that I'm not your husband. You're not my wife. I don't even know you. What's more, I'm not even standing here. How can I be? I haven't even been born yet.
Our mystery drama, A Long Time to Die, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Sam Dan and stars Mandel Kramer. I'll be back shortly with Act One. His name is Alfred Stewart Ainsley. He's 41 years old. Average height, average weight, average looks. Nothing about to make him memorable. Indeed, he has never in his life done anything to bring him notice from beyond the circle of his immediate family, his close friend, his rather esoteric profession. His name was in the newspaper twice. First when he was born, and then 30 years later when he was married. But right now, his name is on the front pages of newspapers in every country of the civilized world. Alfred Stewart Ainsley, quiet, unassuming, has it in his power to shake the government of the most important country in the world, and perhaps alter the very course of history.
Alfred, do you want a drink of water?
Water?
Darling, I know this is difficult, but...
Feel okay, Al?
No, Jerry, he's not feeling okay. Can't you see there's obviously something wrong with him?
Al, what is it?
He's pale. He's sweating.
Now, look, Al, you're not the one who's being investigated. If you're not feeling well, we can ask for a recess.
The chairman's just come in.
The committee stands in order. Mr. Ainsley, we will resume with your testimony. You are still under oath. I would like to continue along a line of questioning initiated by Senator Selby. Would you turn, please, to page 684?
Read it out.
Question. Is it possible that Congressman Carstairs could have forged the secretary's handwriting? Answer, Mr. Ainsley. Senator, I would have more examples of both gentlemen's manuscript. Mr.
Okay, so the sound on that one is a little bit of a mess. I think we'll go ahead and skip that one and do a different one. I'm sorry, guys. It happens sometimes with these older recordings, you know. Sometimes the way that they were archived was not done with the best of care by the people who had control of them at one time. So we'll skip that one. We'll try a different one and see if the sound quality on it's a little bit better. The audio itself seemed to be okay, but it had a lot of like skippy, jumpy kind of cut kind of things there going on. So yeah, we'll try another one.
The CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. Someone once said that we are what we eat. A statement I'd not dispute. But I think we might go a step further and say, at least with equal accuracy, that we are what we think. Curiously, though, our thoughts shape our lives, our very destinies. Most of us, as any psychiatrist will tell you, are motivated by thoughts so deep within our psyches that we're really not aware of them at all. In point of which, consider the strange case of Anton Stern.
But Anton, please, Jonathan is dead. Our son died.
Okay, that one's a bit of a mess too. The pitching on it is a lot lower than what it should be. So yeah, that's okay. We have a few other thousand that we could do. Let's grab another one at random here.
Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. We live in a world where man's achievements are immense and his brutalities unparalleled. The rack of the Inquisition in medieval Spain could not compare with the instruments of torture used on the world's population today. Yet now, as then, there are no absolutes of goodness or of evil. Some of the great secrets of our cosmos have been unearthed by men who were guilty of terrible deeds. And members of the world of academia who train the minds of young people are themselves in need of help to combat malignant forces in their own psyches. Our mystery drama, The Bloody Legend, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Milt Wissoff and stars Arnold Moss and Terry Keane. It is sponsored in part by True Value Hardware Stores and Buick Motor Division. I'll be back shortly with Act One. Demons have pursued men since the beginning of time. The Egyptian Book of the Dead tells of evil ones that set snares for human souls. And the Bible refers to shadowy spirits like pestilence that walketh in darkness. Our literature is sprinkled with Dybbuk's and golems that move men to evil by possessing their souls. Our tale deals with the mind and its fantasies, with acts so foul that only demons can move a man to commit.
That was a marvelous production, Mark. I enjoyed every minute.
Oh, I did too, Frank. I wonder what kept Dash.
You know that husband of yours. Absent-minded professor.
He never used to be.
Well, he's just been working too hard, that's all.
You know, what with his classes and his Beowulf book, he tends to forget what he considers trivia.
I know. I've begged him to slow down. Frank, he respects you as a doctor. You're the only one he would open up to.
Well, I'd be happy to help him, but he's come of his own free will.
And just what is free
Oh,
will?
Dash, I was so worried.
No need for concern, dear. I just got caught up at the library. Never noticed the time. How was the play? Oh, it was great. Pity you missed it. Why don't I make up for my rudeness, Let's have a drink to celebrate. Waiter, 2 martinis and a double Gibson straight up. And may thy way be moved by might of wind.
Dash, do you think you should?
Well, of course I do. You got to stop mothering me, my dear. The quote to the waiter, Dash? Borrowed, roughly, from Beowulf. Oh, and how is your book on Beowulf coming? Oh, in fits and starts. But I'm really immersed in it. Sometimes I feel I'm back in the ancient Danish kingdom, living among those primitive peoples. What was that reference to free will I overheard as I arrived?
I was telling Frank I'd like you to consult him.
About what?
You've been pushing too hard.
Because I missed a play?
No, not just that. You've become so withdrawn, I scarcely get to talk to you these days.
Look, can't we change the subject? Now, where's that waiter with our drink? Simmer down, Dash. Help is on the way. I see him bearing beverages. Good. Let's enjoy the moment.
Dash, will you see Frank? For my sake, please?
Oh, for heaven's sake, yes, if it makes you happy. Now that that's settled, let's have a toast. To dreams of glory and of doom.
Did you make the deposit when you were in town?
Did I? Oh, good heavens, I've still got the slips and all in my pocket.
Oh, well, give it to me. I'll take care of it this afternoon.
Slipped again.
It's not important.
When are you going in?
Soon.
Will you, replenish the bar? We're running sort of low.
We're running low too fast, Dash.
No, don't start that again, Martha.
Will you?
Yes. And I'll visit Frank as soon as I get a chance.
Take time today. You look so tired, darling. Why don't you lie down for a while?
Well, I am a bit bushed.
I'll be back in an hour, so I'll hook the phones up to the recorder. Wait, here. Let me make you comfortable.
Oh, that feels good. Martha. The prowess of people kings, of spear-armed dames in days long sped. Since he first lay friendless, fate repaid him, for he waxed underwelcome, in wealth he throve, till before him the people far and near heard his mandate, gave him gifts, a good king.
Dash. Wake up.
What is... Oh, Martha, it's you. You're back.
You were so deep in sleep I could hardly rouse you. Well, how do you feel?
I don't know. I should feel rested, but I'm tired. Bone tired. My hand, it aches.
Oh, good Lord. It's covered with grime. And there's something under your nails. Green. And it smells.
That's impossible. I haven't moved since you left. The dream.
What was it?
Well, nothing important.
Tell me, please.
No, I can't remember. It was disturbing.
Dash, please don't put me off any longer. See Frank today.
All right, Martha. I hope he has some answers. I don't know how to begin, Frank. Well, why not start with what's bothering you? Well, I don't know. I get confused at times. Sometimes I feel I've said something or done something, and it's not true at all. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, I have no recollection of things I've really done. Well, could you be specific? Well, like the theater the other night. I could have sworn I was with you when I was in the library all night. But finally you did remember? Sure. Mm-hmm. After the bell rang to notify us that the library was closing, it was like waking up, you know? Everything seemed so unreal for a moment.
Well, probably an aberration, temporary. Now, is there anything that's causing you anxiety?
Well, not that I can think of.
How about the past? Can you tie this in with some period of stress or anxiety? Huh?
How far back?
As far back as you'd care to go.
Well, I don't know, Frank. My mother...
Let's go on.
Well, she raised me, you know.
Yes, that's what mothers generally do.
No, she did it all by herself.
Your father?
He was a weak man, a dreamer, always puttering with some invention that never paid off. My mother ran a little business that put food on the table. My father was of little importance around our house.
I see. Did she dominate you as well?
Does a shark have teeth? I was a bookworm when I was a kid. I spent all my spare time in the attic, devouring tales of the Middle Ages, knights, dragons, wars, chivalry. It was all fantasy and so much more real than life outside.
Well, how does this tie in with your mother?
All she could see was my father all over again. She kept rooting me out of the attic, driving me out to the playgrounds and later to the ballpark. She kept hacking away at my love for books. I began to hate the sight of her, the sound of her voice. I began to wish she were dead.
Oh, please answer. Oh, why don't you answer?
Well, take it easy, Martha.
Where can Dash be this time?
Well, it's still early in the evening. You know, he'll walk through that door and you'll feel awfully foolish.
Well, I wish he would. I don't mind appearing foolish. Oh.
There, you see? He's home.
At last.
Hi, folks. The silence is penetrating.
You've been drinking, Dash.
Oh, yes, I certainly have. And why not? When you're in a bar all evening waiting for someone to show up, you've got to order something.
Well, who are you waiting for, Dash?
Well, that's a pretty stupid question coming from you. I was waiting for you.
Well, I've been here for hours.
So I see. Well, why weren't you where you were supposed to be?
Was I supposed to be at the bar?
Well, don't you remember? You called me earlier and asked me to meet you at the inn.
Well, sit down, Dash. Now relax.
Frank, did you call him?
Well, I may have.
Don't try to protect him. Did you call him?
Now, hold on just a minute, Martha. Don't you believe me?
Your track record hasn't been so great this past week, Dash.
Just what does that mean?
For one thing, your unprovoked attack on Professor Dinesky.
Oh, that didn't amount to a hill of beans. Typical academic brouhaha. He said something, I retorted a few angry words, and it was all over.
But that's just it. You never got involved in a hassle in your life. You're the gentlest man I've ever known.
Yeah, but Frank here advised me to assert myself.
Yes, that's right. That's right. I did tell Dash not to hold things inside.
Did you advise belligerence?
Well, not exactly. Look, now this is getting nowhere. Why don't you go to bed, Dash? Things will look different in the morning.
A good idea. I don't relish this inquisition. Good night. My lauded deeds shall an earl have honor in every clan. Forth he fared. In the roadstead rocked an ice-flecked vessel. High o'er his head they hoist the standard, a golden banner. Grave with their spirits, mournful their mood, to him was given such glory of war.
Hello, Frank. I'm glad you're there. It's Dash. No, he's still asleep. But his clothes are all rumpled, Frank, and his sleeve is smeared with blood. I think we'll have to take your advice. Ask them to come. I'll have him dressed when they get here. He looks so forlorn.
Well, he's pretty heavily sedated.
Have there been any reports?
No, none, Martha. Now, you mustn't think of it. The usual kinds of violence and crime, but nothing the police can't account for.
What about the blood stains?
Well, I had them checked out, confidentially. It wasn't even human blood, Martha.
Oh, Frank, what will I do now?
We, Martha. Now, I'm here to help. You know, I think a vacation at the shore, change of scenery. And I know just the place. It's a small town. There's good food on the coast, fresh air.
How soon can we leave?
Well, a few days here, and I'm certain Dash will be able to travel. Now, right now, I'd suggest some hot food for you.
Now, Dash needs me.
No. He needs you to lean on, Martha. You won't do him any good if you go to pieces, too. There. Now, isn't that better?
Well, it would be a lot better if Dash were here to enjoy this dinner.
Dr. Sherby, your answering service said you'd be here. I hate to disturb you. Oh, that's quite all right, Chief Anderson. What is it? I'd like you to come with me. My part illegally. It's no laughing matter, Doc. We need your help. No, I'm not much of a hand at forensic medicine. This is in your line, believe me. There was a break-in at the Claymore Animal Shelter. Well, I can't see how Must be a psychopath did it. We figured you could give us some insight. The place looks like a slaughterhouse. Animals ripped apart and savaged.
Oh, no. No. That couldn't be.
The mind can be an illumination, a shining light that brightens the world for all time to come. Or it may be a bottomless pit where horrors sink beneath the conscious level, better left in darkness. Most of us have shameful acts stored away, acts we cannot bear to face. This, in turn, triggers some of us to commit acts beyond all reason. Will this happen again? We may know shortly when we return with Act 2.
Okay, I think we got all of them we have. Now, let's see.
Well, hello there, Raiders. Hello, Croc. Thank you so much for bringing your folks in. My goodness, it is so deeply appreciated. My name is Ira. This is Blind Dad Does, and I hope that you guys are having a great evening, great day, great time zone, great whatever it is that you're currently in. And I know time travel can be a bit confusing. But I am so glad to have you guys here. Welcome on in. For those of you guys that have never met me before, my name again is Ira, and I am a blind guy. I do a lot of different things, up to and including trying to do some painting, which I am currently doing. As you can see, maybe trying to do a little something anyways. I usually do paintings and listen to stories, different radio shows, old radio shows. Tonight we're doing CBS radio mystery shows, for instance, while I'm painting some kind of weird thing here. And yeah, other than that, I am an author. I am a streamer, obviously. Yeah, I've been a lot of different things and a lot of different places, and hopefully you guys will enjoy whatever time you might spend here. So yeah, trying to think of what I can say. Yeah, so again, I am an author and I am a painter, but I am blind. I do have a small bit of vision, but it is not much. Basically, my eyes are... Well, to kind of put it simply, my eyes are googly. They are out of control. I have a lot of scarring all over my eyeballs, and I have a genetic condition that basically makes it so that everything is completely washed out. So, yeah. And as my thing says, a day without laughter is a day. Exactly. So, yeah. I do audio dramatizations myself as well, of my stories. And one of the things that I deeply love is telling stories. And so when I am doing painting and my wife is asleep 5 feet away from me here, I usually do a story time with old radio shows like CBS Radio Mysteries, X-1, Dimension X, 2000 Plus, The Weird Circle, The Sealed Book, all that kind of stuff. All these old radio plays and radio dramas. And it's kind of a way for me to help to archive these kind of shows. But also when I'm doing painting, it helps me so that I don't have to feel pressured that I have to keep everybody entertained while I'm trying to concentrate on the painting. It gives you guys something to listen to. It gives me something to listen to while I'm trying to keep myself focused. And, it just kind of like, I think, benefits everybody overall. So, instead of just listening to music and trying to talk when I see the chat come in, I just chat when the chat comes in, so and I talk in between the stories. But I figured since the Raiders came in, I may as well go ahead and hop on, since the act that it was in the midst of there took a break. So anyways, yeah, so that is me kind of in a nutshell, and I hope that you guys will enjoy the stories, enjoy the painting, and such as it may be. And yeah, I'm so grateful to have you here. Before anybody leaves, let me make sure to give my little spiel that I like to make sure to give at least once every stream. No matter who you are, no matter what you're going through, you are worthy of being loved. Please do not let anybody teach you any different. The only thing that anybody can ever expect of you is that you're being the best you that you can be in that moment in time. And that doesn't mean being the best. It just means being the best that you can be at that moment. Sometimes that's nothing more than us getting up, getting a bite to eat, and going back to bed. And if that's the best that you can do, then that's all that you can expect of yourself. And don't let yourself get pressured to do anything else. Okay? So, again, no matter what, you are loved. And I am so, so very grateful for you being here in this moment in time. So I'm going to get back to the story. We're in the midst of a story right now where a man is basically, to kind of sum up what's happened so far, the gentleman keeps waking up and having no memory, or having a different memory of what happened than the rest of people around him do. So for instance, he woke up, or he came home from a bar, and he was talking to his wife and friend, and when he went to the bar, he said that the friend told him to meet him at the bar and then never showed up. And so he's got this memory of his friend telling him come to the bar, but his friend never actually called and told him that. So he keeps having these weird events crop up on him, and he's not sure what's going on. So at this point in the story, he woke up with blood all over his hands, and nobody could explain what it was. It ended up being animal blood, and he ended up getting put into a psychiatric institution for a short time period. And while he's been in the institution, his friend, who is a doctor, is approached by the police saying that they have discovered at an animal facility a bunch of the animals have been slaughtered, and they don't know who did it or why. And so we're kind of assuming that it's going to be the gentleman in question is the one responsible, but that's where we're at in the story. So let's go ahead and get back to it. Again, this is an interesting little story, and I'll keep on doing this painting here and seeing where it leads me. I don't know where it's going to lead me. I never do. I kind of don't have a lot of control over what happens with the paintings because, again, of my vision issues, sometimes it doesn't always go the way that I'd like it to go. So, but if you're curious about any of the goodies that I do make, up in the top left-hand corner of the screen, you're going to see a little bit of a rotation of paintings there, and those are ones that I have done on stream, so you guys can see like an example of some of the things that I can do. Some of my more recent over the past, I think, week or so haven't been put in there yet, but I need to. I just haven't. Lazy, haven't gotten to it yet. So anyways, well, let's go ahead and get back to the stories. We'll see what happens from here.
One of the great pioneers of modern psychiatry, Alfred Adler, wrote that fantasy is a creative faculty of the soul. But fantasy misused can become a kind of power intoxication. It can lead a man to turn from loyal friend to ardent foe, from loving husband to murderer. Too often we have seen this tragic course run by individuals who everybody swears is the nicest kid on the block.
Oh, we'll be there soon, Dash. Is everything all right?
Fine. Just fine.
Oh, you're going to love the house. It's modern, all glass, on a small hill overlooking the sea.
I wish you hadn't.
Please, Dash. You've got to make an effort.
Well, I'm trying. But I don't think I'm ready.
Time will tell. Just relax. Give it a chance. How about a little music, Oh, the sea and the air will do you more good than any pills. And it'll be a tonic for me.
Of course it will. Forgive me, Martha, dear. I've been forgetting how you've suffered.
Nonsense.
No, it's true. I've been selfish. You've been going through hell, too.
Well, we only have one way to go now. Heaven's just over the next rise.
This is County Sheriff Blunt. We interrupt this program for a special report. Terror struck Glenville County again today when the mutilated body of Jane Coggins was discovered by a group of children along the Cairo Nature Trail. The 25-year-old student has been missing for almost a week.
Well, why did you shut it off?
It's too nice a day for that kind of news.
I wanted to hear what happened. We may be in danger.
Darling, we have left Glenville behind. Now, there's nothing to worry about.
Please, Martha, let's turn back.
Too late, my love. We have arrived. Oh, Dash, give it a whirl, please, for my sake.
Okay, for your sake. But promise me, if anything happens to me, don't try to find out why. Just leave. Get away as fast as you can.
You sound like you've peeked into your handy-dandy crystal ball.
I have. And all I see is doom.
Well, isn't it everything I said it was? The sun, the salt spray, the sound of the sea.
Yes, it is nice. When is Frank due? How long will he be staying?
Oh, a while.
And he's just here for a visit,
Well, he enjoys the sun and the ocean.
Yeah, but you're ducking the question, Martha.
Dash, you really can't separate a man out. He's a friend.
And a psychiatrist.
Well, what's the harm? You don't have to use his professional services anymore if you don't want to. My goodness. That wind is starting to raise a little cane. I think I better batten down the hatches. We just might have ourselves a storm.
Well, I'll give you a hand.
No need for that. Just a few windows. Why don't you soak up the remaining sunshine while you can? I'll be right back.
Wake me if I doze before Frank arrives.
Promise. Just relax.
Need to pause things here for a moment. For some reason, my keyboard has completely stopped working, and I'm not sure what's going on. I'm trying to fix it here, but yeah, if I'm not typing or doing anything at the moment, that's why. Yeah, it completely died, and I'm a little confused. So give me just a moment here, guys. Yeah, not a good situation. I don't know what happened here. I know it's got power. Hey, okay, I think it's working now. Yeah, okay. Now we're good. Now we're good. Okay. So what ended up happening, I vape, and I put my vape down as I was trying to pick up my stylus so that I could do more painting here. And yeah, my vape ended up flipping one of my switches, I think, on the keyboard, and therefore it it murdered it, and I could not figure out what the hell was going on with it. I use a Bluetooth keyboard because when I do writing, I like to have the keyboard in my lap because it's a lot more comfortable for me to type that way. And so using a wired keyboard is very difficult when it comes to doing that kind of thing. So yeah, that's why I use a Bluetooth keyboard. But this keyboard that I have can be used both on Mac and Windows, and it can be used both through Bluetooth and wired. And I think when I put my vape down, basically it ended up flipping the switch to go to both Mac and wired at the same time. And I don't know how I managed the hell to do that. But it's working now. So we'll go ahead and get back to things here in a moment. Let me take a moment here, though, to say hello, Merlot. It is so good to have you here. I'm glad that you can finally catch one of my streams. It's been a little while. So you're setting up an Arc Evolved server for the community. That's awesome. Arc is a really good game. It's a lot of fun. My problem with Arc is the absolutely gobsmacking massive amount of space that it takes up on the hard drive. I have a lot of hard drive space, and yet it eats it for breakfast. So I tend to avoid that game. The other issue that I have with the game is, yeah, Merlot made it, Fox. So the other issue that I have with the game is that in a lot of ways, it's frustrating for someone like me who already has like a challenge playing games. As an example, one time I was going to play it and I hopped onto a friend's server, and the moment that I spawned in, I got attacked by a weird bird creature. And I was able to fight it off, but then almost immediately afterwards, I was eaten by a T-Rex. And it kind of snowballed from there. I think I went through 25 deaths within an hour, and I was done. I said, no, I think not. And so I have not messed with it ever since. You have 12 terabytes worth of space to fill up. I have currently 8 terabytes worth of space on this computer. I lost one of my 4 terabyte drives not too long ago. I was thankfully able to recover everything off of it, but yeah, it died. It died a horrible, terrible death, and I need to get a different one. So I kind of need to get an entire new computer, mostly because this one runs fine, but at the same time, it has a few issues when I'm streaming and I'm doing Photoshop at the same time, only because Photoshop tends to eat your memory like I do candy. Like it's it's pretty bad. So I would love to get like maybe something with a little bit more RAM or a little bit more CPU power. The graphics card in this system is really good, but my CPU is not super, it's not terrible, but it's not super fantastic. It's got like 8 cores, I think, and it's not too bad, but yeah, again, when you're trying to like run both the streaming I mean, you know, the ultimate obviously would be just doing a streaming computer. Unfortunately, we can't afford to do something like that. But when trying to run the streaming software, the chat bot, the sound files, Photoshop, you name it, it just kind of, it all adds up, you know. So by the time everything's said and done, it kind of gets a little sluggish sometimes, especially with the way that I do Photoshop, because I do larger sized files so that I can make prints available. Because again, you know, being broke, got to make money somehow, right? So yeah, that's kind of my issue. But anyways, the keyboard's working now. We'll get back to the story. Again, for those that have not that weren't tuned in previously, this story basically is about a man who people are starting to believe is a bit psychopathic, and he doesn't understand why they think that is sort of what it kind of boils down to. So we will talk again once the story is done. I'm going to do a little bit more painting. We'll see what more progress we can make. Oh, by the way, Merlot. I need to show you the painting that I finished yesterday, because I do think that you would like it. Let me load it up, because I don't think you've seen it yet. There you go. This is the little guy I finished yesterday while I was on stream. I really like him. I like the eyes the most on this one, I think. I really groove with it, so yeah. Yeah, I love him too. So that's what I did yesterday while streaming and listening to stories. And this is the one that we're currently working on. I'm not sure exactly what direction it's going to go yet. I'm still kind of like getting some of the basic layout done. I have like an idea of where I'd like it to go. Whether I get it there or not, I don't know, but we're going to give it our best shot, because that's what we can do, right? Yeah, he's like a galaxy cat. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I liked it. So, yeah, we'll get back to the story here. Again, we're listening to the CBS Radio Mysteries tonight. Last night we did X-1, and that was very entertaining. There were some really good stories with that. So, yeah. Quarter. Okay, yeah, I like that name. That's cool. I can deal with that. All right, well, enjoy the stories. We'll talk again here in just a few moments.
To the good king of the Danes, an heir was born, and long he ruled when his father was gone. Far flew the fame of Beowulf in the Scandian lands, and there was treasure for the thanes and pleasure in the master mead house. With envy and anger, an evil spirit endured the din of revel, until the fiend of hell, Grendel the monster mighty, in moorland living, in fen and fastness, stirred. Who is Grendel, Dash? A monster child of a sea hag, hater of Beowulf and his thanes. I know. But who is Grendel now? Who is the monster you dream of? He is a demon, full of hate, waiting to spring upon the innocent. Who is he in your life? He is no one. He cannot be. He is no.
Well, hello, Frank. When did you arrive?
Just a few minutes ago.
Well, you're lucky. It's really coming down. Where's Dash?
Out.
In this stall?
Yes, he just ran off. I couldn't stop him.
Why?
Well, something spooked him. I overheard him talking in his sleep, and I asked him some questions, and he panicked.
Well, why didn't you go after him?
I did, but he was out of sight before I got past the terrace. Now, don't worry, Martha. If he isn't back in a while, I'll go after him. But as soon as his fright wears off, he'll head home.
I hope so, Frank.
Storm's dying down. Just a little rain and wind now.
Oh, Frank, where can he be?
Sun should be out before long.
But it's not like him just wandering off.
Oh, it's not unusual, Martha, in his condition.
What is his condition exactly?
He is recovering. Now, by that I mean he's trying to get a hold on reality.
And is he succeeding?
More and more. But he still has moments of disconnection.
Did you hear that?
Yes.
Dash? Dash? Is that you? Oh, my darling, you're drenched.
Thirsty.
What? Are you all right, Dash?
Here, Dash, here, drink this.
Oh, it was horrible.
What was horrible?
The nightmare. I'm exhausted.
All right. Lie down, and I'll cover you.
It was just... It was awful. Oh.
He's out.
His forehead's burning hot.
He probably has some fever.
Aren't you going to do something?
Sleep is what he needs right now. And it wouldn't do you any harm either. Now, you get to bed, and I'll psych out here.
Are you sure?
Nothing more will happen now.
Then, from the moorland, by misty crags, the monster Grendel came. Under welkin he walked to the wine palace. There streamed from his eyes fearful flashes like flame to see. Straightway he seized a warrior and tore him fiercely asunder. The bone frame bit, drank blood in streams, swallowed him piecemeal.
Hello?
Mrs. Saxon?
Yes, who is it?
This is Sheriff Blunt. You all right?
Yes. Why do you ask?
Well, there was a little trouble this morning, what with the storm and all. Would you mind if I dropped in to see you in a while?
No, not at all.
Good. I'll see you soon.
Little trouble?
Well, don't pay to alarm folks unnecessarily. Any word on the couple in the car?
They're coming around. It was quite a shock. There they were, pulled up in the storm, when they heard this ruckus and the screams. Poor Zig, he was a mess.
Yeah, it's kind of turned my stomach, too. I've seen a lot of dead men.
What kind of a maniac would do a thing like that?
Somebody so full of hate, Johnny, he's got to rip and tear to quiet down what's eating him. I'm going out to see Mrs. Saxon. You keep after them lab fellas. Any word comes in, don't wait. Call me there.
Anything else?
At this point, maybe a little word upstairs. We need all the help we can get.
What was the trouble you mentioned on the phone, Sheriff?
Zig Elkins, the tavern owner, was killed during the night.
Oh, the storm was bad.
No, Mrs. Saxon. He wasn't killed by the storm. Not directly, anyhow.
Well, what do you mean?
Seems like we've got a maniac loose.
Maniac?
Mm-hmm. But the storm could have had something to do with it. It seems to breed violence. Glenville County had a similar incident not too long ago.
What's going on here?
Yeah, you must be Mr. Saxon.
That's right.
This is Sheriff Blunt, dear. He came out to see if we were all right.
Did you notice anything unusual during the night or hear anything?
Well, not above the storm.
Well, I take it you all stayed indoors.
Who'd be fool enough to go out and all that?
Somebody did. We got a body to show for it.
A victim of the storm?
A victim of a human storm. A murder.
Oh, no.
Did you want to add anything, Mr. Saxon?
He was under sedation all night.
Oh? Have you been ill?
He's recovering.
I asked him, Mr. Saxon. Well, Mr. Saxon?
Well, as she says, I've been recovering from a breakdown.
I see.
I don't think you do, Sheriff.
What have we got so far?
Lots of prints and blood and more footsteps than you can pick up around my backyard.
Did the lamb boys pin any of it down?
Blood belonged to Zig. At least it was the right type.
How about footprints?
They were huge, really outsized. Didn't look like human prints at all. They found traces of seaweed in the prints.
Possible. You might have come up through the beach and picked some up.
Not according to Doc. Too much of it. And it was mixed with some kind of tarry substance. Smelled awful.
That is strange.
What else? Doc feels that there was savvy mixed up in the killer's madness. He savaged Zig, but he used some kind of tool to do it. The information you requested is coming in, Sheriff.
Let me see.
This is to confirm our findings. It's interesting. The situation in Glenville County is almost a duplicate of ours. Lots of blood. And the same darn footprints. Down to the seaweed and all. Violent storm, too. Looks like this guy's got a traveling act.
Some orange juice, dear? Dash?
No. No, thanks. I think we ought to go back, Martha.
Darling, Frank feels you're not ready yet.
Well, I know me better than he does. By the way, where is he today? He hasn't asked me a single question.
Oh, he's in town. He should be back any moment.
Right on cue. He does have a flair for theatrics.
Oh, Dash, that's unfair. He's been a good friend to you.
A friend? Well, you may be right.
Well, up and enjoying the lovely weather. Can you spare some coffee, Martha?
Oh, sure. How about something to eat?
Some toast, please.
Mm-hmm.
I'm famished.
That's what you get for running out so early. What was so important, Frank?
Just some loose odds and ends to take care of. I had to cancel out my appointments this week, for one thing.
Could have saved yourself the trouble. We're going back.
I suggest you take it easy for another week.
Sorry.
Well, why don't we talk about this tomorrow?
There's nothing to discuss. I've made up my mind. I want to get back to my book and my students.
I meant to tell you, Dash. The dean's replaced you for the rest of the semester.
Without notifying me?
Oh, I spoke to him.
Well, I brought some eggs, too, Frank.
Oh, thank you, Martha. I wonder if you'd leave us alone for a few minutes.
No, you stay right here, Martha. She's got a right to know everything about me.
Of course. I just think we should have a session.
No, I'll go. I've got lots to do.
Start packing.
Frank?
I said start packing.
I'll be in the house if I'm needed.
I suggest you do the same if you're leaving with us, Frank.
Well, my few things are ready. How about a drink? One for the road, so to speak?
You know, I don't touch this stuff anymore.
I meant some juice. There's no harm in that.
I just had some.
Vitamins, Dash. They're good for you. Here, have a slug. To Beowulf. May your books set them on their ears.
To Beowulf.
No. Let's just chat for a while, Dash.
It's still early. Chat away, Frank.
You feel rested?
Oh, I slept like a log. Could always use more, I suppose. I'm feeling drowsy.
Well, maybe we should postpone our talk while you get a few winks.
It's strange. I felt so alive before you came out.
I have that effect on some people.
I think I will have a snooze.
Dash, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, I hear you.
Your hands are covered with grime.
Yes.
You've been digging in the earth with your hands.
Have I?
Yes, you have. Why, Dash? Why were you digging?
I can't remember. I can't remember. I can't remember.
Johannes Kepler, the great astronomer, once came to the conclusion that a man's physical surroundings acts upon his life like the loops a farmer ties around the pumpkins in his field. The loops may not cause the pumpkins to grow, but they determine its shape. The same applies to man's physical surroundings. They do not endow a man with his history, but they do mold his condition. Perhaps this is the cause that moves our killer to act. We shall know more shortly when we return with Act 3. Where does the legend of demons arise? In superstition, some say cynically. But as Eliphas Levi pointed out many years ago, superstitions are instinctive, and all that is instinctive is founded in the very nature of things. Let us return then with renewed attention and less cynicism to the superstition of demons and their struggle with our strange and bloody killer.
Dash? Dash? How about some time out for food,
We just had breakfast.
7 hours ago. Now, I brought you some ham and cheese.
Oh, say, that looks good. Yeah, I guess I am hungry.
Oh, it's good to see you hard at work again.
And it's good to be home again.
Well, don't overdo it.
Beowulf has me in his clutches. Have you heard from Frank?
He calls now and then.
I'm glad I'm out of his clutches.
Oh, that's unfair, Dash. He has been a good friend.
I agree. I just don't want ever to need him again professionally.
Well, I'm sure you won't. You look well. You're as good as new.
I hope the dean agrees. I'm hoping to see him this evening.
Why don't you concentrate on the book for the rest of the semester?
Well, you said I'm as good as new.
Well, but there's no point in pushing yourself. Besides, there's only 6 weeks left until summer vacation.
But I want to leave knowing that I'm back in full stride. I'll take it, Martha. Hello? Yes, this is he. Oh. I see. Well, then maybe tomorrow. No, I agree. That wouldn't make much sense now. Well, maybe when we return, Good. Sure. Have a nice summer.
Was that Dean Martin?
Yes. He doesn't want me to push too hard either.
Oh, darling, you'll be back on campus in the fall.
Will I? Morrison didn't sound too encouraging.
That's your imagination, Dash. You're one of his prize scholars.
Was, you mean?
That is enough of that. Finish your lunch and get back to work.
Slave driver.
Just until 6. You and I have a dinner engagement.
One good thing about being in the doghouse, people stay away in droves.
Oh, even if it were true. Do you mind?
No, not in the least. I enjoy dining alone with you, darling. Guess who's coming to dinner?
Oh, there you are. I tried you at home.
Well, now, how did you know we were here?
Oh, wasn't too hard. This is your favorite beanery.
We were just about to order dessert. Won't you join us?
I'll just have some coffee. I had a sandwich on the way up.
Up? From where?
The beach. I had a few details to take care of. We left so suddenly. You look well, Dash. How's the book coming?
Fabulously. He'll be through by the end of the week.
There speaks the voice of confidence. Excuse me, I'll be right back.
What happened, Martha?
Oh, a small setback. At least that's how Dash feels. He was really looking forward to picking up where he left off, but Dean Morrison asked him to take the rest of the semester off.
Well, that's not too bad.
No, I guess not. What were you doing at the beach?
I told you, a few personal errands to take care of.
You are avoiding answering.
Very well. The sheriff called. He had some questions to ask, and he also wanted permission to check through the house.
And?
He found nothing extraordinary. He took samples of smears he found in the garage.
Did he say anything?
Not a word. He's a strong, silent type.
Martha.
Dash, are you all right? My goodness, you're as white as a sheet.
I'm not feeling well.
Oh.
I hate to spoil the evening.
No, that's all right. We were just about through with dinner.
Well, let's go quickly. I feel so...
Oh, help him. Frank, help him.
You're tired, Dash.
Yes, I'm tired. My eyes are heavy.
Dash, just hear my voice. The woman you keep seeing, who is she?
I can't say.
You must answer me.
The sea hag. My mother.
You hated her.
Yes.
You wanted her to die.
No.
You wanted her dead.
Grendel's mother, the sea hag, monster of women, was doomed to dwell in the dreary waters, cold sea courses, since Cain cut down with edge of sword his only brother, his father's offspring. Outlawed, he fled, marked with murder, from men's delights beset by fate-sent ghosts. What's happening?
It's all right. You've been asleep. How do you feel now?
Pooped. Have I been out long?
About 3 hours. Frank drove you home. You went right to bed.
Frank? Oh, yes, his office. I had such a headache.
Who is it?
Chief Anderson, Mrs. Saxon. May I come in?
Could you come back in the morning?
No, I'm afraid not.
There's a note of urgency in your voice, Chief.
Have you been in town for the past few days?
Yes, we've been here.
At home?
Well, not every second. Martha had some shopping to do. I visited Frank Sherby at his office.
Anybody else see you, Mr. Saxon?
No, but I did speak to Dean Morrison.
Dash, before you answer any more questions, I'd like to know what this is all about.
No reason why you shouldn't, Mr. Saxon. Sheriff Blunt called. He asked me to check your house. With your permission, of course.
Help yourself, Chief.
I'd prefer to wait until Blunt gets here. He's on his way in from town.
Sit still. I'll get it. Hello? Who? Oh, yes. Just a moment. It's for you, Chief.
Oh, thanks. Hello? I see. No, just the three of us. Okay. See you soon. Things have changed. I'm going to have to ask you both to stay right here and act natural. What's beyond that door?
Dash's study?
I'll wait in there. Now, don't worry.
How can we help worrying? I wish I knew what this...
Relax, Martha. Is the coffee still hot?
Just about.
Well, let's have a cup.
Darling, excuse me, but I need the aspirin now. Or perhaps I should ask the chief's permission to leave the room.
Go on, Martha. It's all right.
Dash, what happened?
Well, nothing, Frank. You look like a man possessed.
Where is she?
Martha? Well, she's in there.
And I'm too late. Dash, why? Why did you do it?
Are you sober, Frank?
That's the wrong question, Dash. Oh, Chief Anderson, good Lord, you cannot blame Dash. I'm not blaming
Did they drag you over here too, Frank?
What? It can't be. You're wrong, Dr. Sherby. Dead wrong. Why did you rush in here? That is privileged information. Not in the case of homicide.
Well, I'd like to know, too.
Well, I was worried. After the session with Dash this afternoon, I thought he might,
Do what, Frank?
Well, it doesn't matter. Nothing happened.
Well, come on now. What are you afraid of?
Do you really want to know?
Well, of course.
I was afraid you might harm Martha. Especially after you called her the sea hag. I thought...
You mean you tried to plant the idea at the session, and you wanted to see if it had actually worked?
You're mad, Dash.
I thought your profession frowned on those terms.
That must be Sheriff Blunt now. You have the papers, Blunt?
Sure thing, Anderson. We had a look around?
Yeah, and seen enough. Dr. Sherby, you'd better come along with us. We'd like to talk to you at the station. You're making a mistake, Anderson. Won't be the first. Let's go. Good night, Martha. Dash.
Who would have thought? Frank, of all people.
I can't believe it.
Well, neither can I. This is a world of strange and mysterious happenings.
Darling, are you ready for bed?
No, not after that. Now, why don't you hit the sack? I'll listen to some music and look over the last chapter of my book.
Are you sure?
Very sure. Good night, dear.
Good night, Dash. Don't stay up too late.
Although the scenes of Beowulf were laid in an old dramatic court and kingdom, The picture of life seems to have been drawn from the England of the unknown past that pieced together the legendary doings of the Teutonic hero king. Then the sea hag grasped Beowulf with grisly claws as she strove to shatter the hero king. With loathsome hand, this brine wolf bore him to the floor of the sea, where sea beasts many tried with fierce tusks to tear his mail. But with mighty stroke, he swung his blade. Swift on her part, she paid him back. The Lord of Heaven allowed his cause, and easily he arose, his blade triumphant as the monster mother shrieked.
Don't! Please! Just in the name of heaven, Dash! Don't!
Will she be all right, Doc? I hope so. There's no physical damage, thank God. You and the sheriff moved quickly.
I'm sorry we had to put her through all this, but we didn't have enough evidence to hold him.
Oh, poor Dash. He was so obsessed with the tale of Beowulf, he became part of the legend. He kept vacillating between the role of king and monster at first, and finally he resolved his dilemma in his distorted way.
Well, I better get back. Things could be a lot more peaceful now that this one's all wrapped up.
Well, maybe so, but one thing still bothers me. What about the outsized footprint we found? And the seaweed and the pitch? Never got an answer for that.
Let's hope we never do, Tom. Whatever came out of the sea, may it never come again.
So our tale for tonight has run its tortuous course. A tale of deceit and treachery, of victims and monsters. Or were they all monsters? All victims? Are the pressures that build up within us by a dehumanized society responsible? Or is there individual guilt? Original sin? Better minds than mine have tried to unravel that twisted skein, and to no avail. I'll be back shortly.
Twisted tales indeed. Twisted tales indeed. I hope you guys are enjoying the stories so far. And the paintings, such as they are. I do see that it kind of had a couple of skipped frames, so I hope that everything came through okay. But yeah, so far so good on this painting. I am enjoying the process for the most part. There's a few bits and pieces that I am having some issues with, and I'm trying to get my eyes to focus well enough to be able to do them, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to manage or not. But we will give it our best whirl, as we always do. But I hope that you guys are having a good night, having a good time. What have you guys been munching on? I am starting to get a little hungry, so I'm thinking about munchies. I just wish it was munchies in the way that it normally would get munchies, but I can't because it's freaking illegal here in Indiana. It sucks. Okay, we're gonna get into another story. Let's see which one we can do. How about...
Hello.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Mad Concepts. Hey, welcome on in. Thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it very, very deeply. And I'm grateful for you spending at least a few moments here with us. How are you? What's going on? I am currently in the midst of doing this painting. I'm not sure how it's going to come out in the end, but we'll see once it approaches the final stages. I'm kind of like a midpoint. I have everything laid out that I want to lay out. It's just a matter of trying to refine it from here and try and do something decent with it. Got done arting for the day yourself. Oh, okay, that's cool. What kind of art do you do? I would love to know. If you're curious about the kind of art that I usually do, up in the top left-hand corner, I have a little spinner going on that shows some of the paintings that I've done on stream recently. I don't always succeed, but I try to do a painting a day. It is difficult sometimes for me because I am a blind guy, and so some days my eyes just do not want to cooperate in any kind of way with me. It's unfortunate, but it's just kind of the way that it is. Oh, you do the spooky art too. Okay, cool. Do you do like painting or photo bashing, or how do you do your spooky art? I'm always curious about how people manage things. Oh, well, thank you. I do appreciate that. I do deeply. I've been painting for a long while. Digital painting. Cool. Very cool. Do you use like Photoshop or Painter, or what kind of software do you end up doing? I have tended to go with Photoshop because it's what I've used the longest. I started using Photoshop back when I was doing photography many years ago. Yeah, the Photoshop, cool. And I've tried some of the others. I've got Painter 2021. I've got Clip Studio Paint. I've got Krita. I've got a few different ones, and I don't know. I just always keep coming back to Photoshop because it's what I'm the most comfortable with, the most familiar with, and I have a lot of brushes that I've created over the years that basically like work with my eyes pretty well, so that I can sort of use them to my own advantage, I guess you could say. Whereas with the other programs, sometimes it's more like I have to fight against the software to get done what I need to get done. Whereas in Photoshop, I can sort of just manage it by instinct, I guess you could say. So just got Clip Studio a little while ago to get into animation. That's cool. That's cool. I have huge respect for anybody that can do animation. It is, oh, ads. Okay. I will hold off then. Merlot, are you still here, dearie? I don't know if you're still here or not, or if you are sucked into your server. You know, I suppose I should take the time to actually save this thing. I have yet to save it at all. The Portal of Doom, that seems like an appropriate name. You are still here. Okay, good. Are you enjoying the story time? I'm always curious if people are into the stories as much as I am, or if you guys are enjoying the fact that I do these stories. A lot of the reason why I do it is just because Jolene, my wife, is asleep just like 5 feet away. And although she sleeps like a log, like super deep, I'm always, paranoid that I'm going to end up waking her up or whatever. So I try not to talk too much. I do tend to, as you can probably tell, my voice is a deep one. And I try my best not to get too boisterous because I know that my voice can like really echo if I wanted to. I used to do radio for a living. I did talk shows for a living. And so I'm very accustomed to projecting my voice a lot louder than what I intended to. So nice to have them going in the background. That's cool. That's cool. I'm actually going to play one of my own stories next. So, okay, cool. Mad, I'm glad that you're back. Sorry about the ad hell. Unfortunately, it's just a thing with Twitch. Need the mic settings. I use a Rode pod mic as my main microphone, and a Go XLR Mini for my mixer. I do have fancier equipment from my radio days, but as far as space on my desk is concerned, this is what works out the best. So Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I know that there's like a little bit of a weird noise that's going on with it. I have two fans going on in the room at the same time. So, it's hot. It's hot and I wilt. Okay. So I have to have these fans on, unfortunately. Oh, the Shure. Is it the Shure Shure SM8 or which type is it? The Go XLR is really nice. I think that as far as a mixer is concerned, it's very very good. 7B, very cool, very cool. That's a very nice microphone. I love those. I had one of those for a little while and ended up breaking. Unfortunately, I dropped it accidentally one day, and yeah, it murdered it pretty quickly. So that's when I ended up getting this one right here, the pod mic, and I really like it. Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, they're very expensive mics too. Ah, so you have the air vent blowing up your butt. How are your ferrets doing? Are they handling the heat okay? You're down there in the part of the country where you just step outside and you're basically walking into water. So not a fun place during the summer, that's for sure. Yeah, I definitely understand that, Matt. That's kind of more a matter of just getting used to the particular microphone that you're using. It takes a lot of practice. You know, one of the things that I did way back in the day to start getting used to how to talk into the mic and how to get accustomed to it was finding a short story that I liked and reading it into the computer, recording it, and then listening back to it so that I could kind of tell where I was getting too close and that kind of stuff. I think doing things like that is a little bit helpful. You never have to broadcast, and nobody else ever has to even come remotely close to hearing it if you don't want to. But just as a way to kind of get used to things, I think that's a really good route to try to go. They hate the heat, so they stay in the bedroom with the badass air conditioning unit. Yeah, I can believe it. Yeah, ferrets especially are very sensitive to that warmth. That's for sure. Yeah, that would help. Definitely. That would help. And that way you can kind of get an idea, especially if you do it where you have your camera on, for instance, which mine's not on right now, mostly because the room is dark because, again, Jolene's asleep. You guys wouldn't be seeing anything other than my glasses reflecting the screen pretty much. Well, the way I have my system set up in order to paint, I have my monitor on an arm and I get it to about an inch in front of my face. So basically, if I don't have things arranged really perfectly, you guys basically would just be staring at the back end of the monitor, which is not a fun thing to look at, you know, just sitting there looking at the back of a monitor. Yeah, I love talking audio. Definitely, it's something that I'm very passionate about myself. I never went to school for it or anything along those lines, but when I started getting into doing radio hosting, I kind of set myself on a quest to learn as much as I could about audio engineering, And I've kind of gotten myself to the point where I basically have a degree with it, just because I spent hundreds and hundreds of hours like experimenting, watching videos, trying to learn from books, that kind of stuff, trying to figure out the best ways to create the best audio that I could. So you have the feedback on and can tell just talking I'm too loud and it's getting blown out for sure. And everyone says it sounds fine, but it sounds horrid to me. That might be, okay, so if everybody says that they're hearing it fine, it might be a matter of your own settings for your own headphones could be causing you issues, whereas the stream is hearing things differently. That happens, definitely. I don't know if you heard that, but my wife just like did a big snort. Yeah, there are some really, really good tutorial type things on YouTube, for instance, that can really help to get a handle on how to do like compression, equalizing, that kind of thing, with what equipment you have. The Go XLR, for instance, has a lot of built-in things that are really nice, but if you have the things set just like slightly incorrectly, it can sound horrid. Unfortunately, it's just kind of the way that it is with this particular kind of equipment. But yeah, it's nice that it has a built-in though. And one of the things I really love with it is the built-in noise gate. I love the fact that it has that. So saves my butt when it comes to these fans being on, I tell you. But I have spent like hundreds of hours trying to tweak, because I'm an audiophile. As you can imagine, with my vision issues, I'm very much about like audio as opposed to visual stuff, except for when I'm doing painting. And so if things are even slightly off to me on my equipment or in the way that I'm hearing myself and that kind of thing, it really, really bothers me. And so I like spend an inordinate amount of time trying to get things tweaked correctly. And yeah, it's much to my own wife's chagrin, because she'll hear me sitting here going, test 1 2 3 1 2 3, testing 1 2 for like hours, just trying to tweak the sound correctly. Oh God, that's a nightmare. That is a nightmare. I was actually just talking to Miss Merlot here a little while ago about the fact that one of my hard drives just recently took a nosedive off of the cliff. I was able to save everything off of it, thankfully, but it's horrible. Oh God, I can't stand when equipment starts to go down like that. As far as like art and like your art files and that kind of thing, I don't know if you've ever tried this, but there are ways to like automatically back up file directories. Like Google Drive, for instance, has stuff. You can do it through like Dropbox and that kind of thing, where if you save your art into this file directory, it'll automatically back it up onto the cloud for you. I am extremely obsessive about backing things up, because, well, my, it's honestly, it's not a bad thing, at least to, have, well, okay. So for instance, I use Google One, which gives, extra space on the, Google Photos. And although I have issues with the idea of like saving my stuff into a cloud where people, you know, could, or well, AI and that kind of thing can like scrape it. It still gives me a bit of peace of mind to be able to know that that kind of thing is there for me. When I was married to my second wife, who was excessively abusive, just as an example, all of my stories and art that I had ever created up to the time where this incident happened, she decided to take it upon herself to throw it all into a fire and burn it all to the ground. And so I lost everything, every bit of backup, everything that was saved, just gone in a fire. And then, so that made me kind of stop writing for a while. When I finally was able to get away from her and later got together with somebody else, I started writing again, and then the two of us ended up breaking up, and I went to work one day, and when I came home, she had taken everything out of the house that belonged to me. I didn't have any clothes. I didn't have my computer, none of the physical backups of my stories. It was all gone again. And so all of that actually made me stop doing anything creative for over a decade. If you're curious, I'm 52, so I'm up there at this point. But yeah, I didn't do anything for almost a decade, and it was a really rough time, So in order for me to convince my brain that it was okay to start doing things again, I had to figure out ways to automatically back things up in some kind of a way, just so that my brain would stop fussing at me about, you're going to lose everything again. And even though my wife, I know, would never in a million billion years ever do anything along those lines to me, it's still good to be able to tell my brain to shut the hell up and be able to, create things again. So, well, thank you. Yeah, getting some kind of backup. It's really, I think it, especially in this day and age where it's so easy to do, there's not really a reason not to. Like I said, I do the Google One thing, and I think it only costs me $1 a month to get 100 gigs worth of space to be able to back my stuff up. And the only thing that I back up to it is the finalized art files themselves, which don't take up a whole lot of space. So I'm not using very much of it up at all. I also use things like DropCloud. What is it? Yeah, DropCloud. No, that's not it. Shit, I just said it a little while ago, and now my brain is like, no, that's not right. Now I'm going to be obsessed with trying to figure it out. Anyways, it doesn't matter. You get the point. There's a lot of different services that are there that you can make use of. Yeah. Well, the PSDs, I do that too, and I have a whole external drive dedicated to PSDs. There is so much space that's taken up with them, but again, I hate to lose them because I might want to go back and, it's like that thought in your head. I might want to go back and change things later, even though I haven't touched this particular painting in 10 freaking years. It's still, I got to have that just in case, you never know. The folder, the folder. And, animation, if you're going to get into animation too, I mean, that takes up a lot of space. It really does. It really does. I need to take a drink here real quick, so I guess. There we go. So, yeah. I mean, you got to figure out some kind of way to back things up, even if it's on an external drive. I have actually a separate external drive to back everything up onto, away from my other external drive, that I then disconnect when I'm not actively backing things up, just in case. It's terrible. It really is. But again, when you go through that experience of losing things, your brain starts to really get obsessive about trying to figure out how not to lose stuff again, it's hard. It really is. It sucks, but need backups on backups on backups. Right. Exactly. And if you don't have it, then what's the point of doing anything? Because you're going to lose it, It's just the way the brain works. It sucks. It really does. Well, my voice is getting a little bit tired, so I'm going to hit one of the stories here, and I'm actually going to play you guys one of my own personal stories. So this is a story that I wrote. I did all of the audio design with it and all of the voice work in it, other than the female parts. I did basically everything, creative music, you name it. It's all, there. And I'm really proud of how this one in particular came out. I do hope that you guys will enjoy it as well. Exactly. I hope that you guys will enjoy it as well. This one was a fun one, and it's actually the storyline is based in a series of books that I've written as well. It's in a universe that I call Center, that is kind of a weird steampunky magic using sort of world. It's kind of weird, but yeah. 4 a.m. need food and sleep. Gonna lurk, but I'll be sure to come back again soon. Thank you so much, Mad Concepts, for being here. I deeply appreciate it. And before, I'm sure everybody else is probably going to take off too, but before you guys do, please let me give this little bit of thing that I like to do with all of my streams. No matter who you are, no matter what you're going through, please remember that you are worthy of being loved. Please don't let anybody ever teach you any different. The only thing that anybody can ever expect of you is that you're being the best you that you can be in that moment in time. That may be nothing more than getting up, getting a bite to eat, and going back to bed. But if that's the best that you can do in that moment, then that is perfectly fine. And please don't let anybody tell you different. Okay. So, with that, I'm going to get to the story. This story in particular is called The Long Night of the Mage, and I hope that you guys will enjoy it as much as I do. So, and I'll get back to the painting here as we go. Love you guys.
Awesome Stories by Ira Robinson.
The Long Night of the Mage by Ira Robinson. The summer breeze. I can feel it around me, flowing smooth across my arms, my face, wafting my hair around in a black flood. Fresh it smells to me, and happy I am with it, for with each breath I take, I'm cleansed of what I had witnessed not long ago. Where had he come from? I knew not then, and still it remains a mystery, though I suppose it really matters not. What I am left with is a sense of dread, a sense of ominous fear, and a sense of purpose to warn you, my friends, of what can happen if you pay attention to matters of the body alone and not to the spirit. It had been winter when I first saw him, astride a fine white warhorse, and I must admit my eyes were quite taken by him. Had you asked me then, I would deny all. Was he a handsome man, you might ask? Nay, not especially thrilling to the palate. His hair was long. I remember seeing it flowing out of the cowl of his robe that he wore to stave off the cold wind that was blowing. His nose was a tad long for my taste, and his eyes were blue, a bad match to that same brown hair I could see, but there was something striking. Perhaps it was the way he sat atop his horse, seemingly careless of the wind puffing wisps of snow around. Maybe it was the way he watched me as I approached on my own horse, two strangers meeting on a trail. Either way, I was shocked at my reaction as I was left breathless for a brief moment. Never before had that occurred to me, and never again, I must say. My horse, Shadow, seemed to sense my hesitation as he paused for a moment from his slow trot, giving me more time to take in this stranger. Only for a brief moment, but it was long enough, I think, for him to notice.
Greetings.
His voice, though he spoke quietly, was clear over the breeze blowing. There was almost a gravelly tone to it, as if he was older than he at first appeared. But I marked it as having not spoken for some time. It just seemed to have that quality. Another brief moment passed before I realized I had not responded, and I was unhappy with myself as I tried to be as cordial as possible, even to those I don't care much for. A throwback to when I had to make my living in the taverns playing the lap harp to strangers every night. Hello, stranger, and hopefully well met. I hope your travels find you safe. He took a moment to respond. For some reason, I thought him a liar just from that one word. There was a hint of sadness behind his speech. See, playing for crowds for years tends to make you a good judge of people, and I thought I knew my way around people's emotions.
Well enough, I suppose, for one who must travel such weather.
I laughed a little at that, thinking the same myself. I still had many leagues to cross yet before reaching my own destination of Haram, just outside of Center. He smiled and then said,
My name is Silence.
Well, Ira is mine. I was thinking that it was an odd play of names. Where do you travel to, Silence?
To Tyrannon, my lord. And a long road it is that is ahead of me. Would you do me the honor of sharing a fire? A good deal of time has passed since I have had any company.
Still unsure if I should have trust in this man, I thought for a moment. It was nearing dark, and the roads, though somewhat safe in this time of year, still posed a danger for travelers at night. If nothing else, from risk of a broken leg on your horse from a stray tree root or something. So I accepted, though I was a tad distrustful. I'd learned long ago that not every man has honorable intentions in this world, though I could take quite good care of myself if need be. We chatted about little things while we made ready for camp, gathering some wood that was reasonably dry and moss-free. A small cantrip I used, one I had learned in my younger days, and a flicker of flame popped into existence at the tip of my finger, and touching the wood with it, I coaxed it into a deeper fire. Soon enough, the warmth was spreading outward, and though the wind blew cold around us, a small flagon of ale and the glow of the fire warmed my body. I soon eased back against the saddlebags from my horse that grazed nearby, a smile on my face. Nice enough, he seemed, and I thought I would get along with Silence pretty good. He did seem an honest man and maybe a possible friend. I was pleased, and perhaps that's good. Sometimes it's so hard to tell. He hadn't spoken for a little while, living up to his name, and it surprised me when his voice carried across the fire to me.
Have you ever been in love, my lord?
That was a strange question for one I had just met to ask, but I answered anyhow, thinking little harm in it. But it was long ago. I saw him nod his head, something akin to agreeing, though I think it more acknowledging the fact that I had actually answered.
Love is a nightmare.
I couldn't help but lift my head and stare at him, wondering what he held in his heart to think such a thing. The love I had turned into something I did not expect, but To call it a nightmare, I thought that was quite odd. He wasn't looking at me as he continued his thought.
I had a love once, and the same I shall never be for it.
He kept staring at the night sky for a moment before his head rolled around to face me, and I could see tears in those blue eyes. My heart reached out for him instinctively when I saw them, and I could not help but to lift my hand to his face and wipe one away. Tell me. Your soul tells me that you need to. Well, he closed his eyes and a few more tears streamed down from him, and I could hear him audibly swallow as if he was trying to choke them back. He heaved a sigh, and there was such sadness there I could feel it. But after a moment passed, he again opened them and looked to the sky.
Not so long ago it was, and not nearly long enough for me to have come to grips with it, Ira. But I'll tell it, and in the telling may it ease at least a little. She was beautiful, my lady of the sun. I called her that because of her hair. It always reminded me of a sunset at its most glorious, and I thought that I would never see a more gorgeous sight than her smile. In truth, I haven't, and she called me her lifeblood. Those were wonderful days back then, and in a different world, it seems, than this. Magnificence was all around us, not like this dark age we have fallen into.
He fell quiet again for a moment, caught up in the memories, and I let him, knowing all too well how it is to be snared up in an emotion. He continued on, and the way that he spoke was almost as if he was speaking to someone else, not me.
I was a mage then, and one who had just come into his power. A hard time, that is. Hard not only on the body, but on the mind as well, and the spirit can wear down quickly. But she was always there for me when I would come out of my room, haggard from my experiences. Always there with a smile on her face or a glint in her eye, and just from seeing her, I would feel refreshed. Almost refreshed enough to return to my experiments, but there was plenty of time for that later. Would that I could hold those days in my grasp once again. I wish I could use a bit of that old magic to allow me to capture them and store them away to bring out whenever I want. But alas, time passed as it always must, and not even Garanon in all of his power has found a way to pierce that veil yet. The day came when she asked me to teach her what I knew, and though I knew the forces might cause her troubles, when she asked me that with that smile on her face, I could not resist her. I thought there no harm in it. Her spirit was true, and the strength of will she had was incredible, stronger than my own, I must admit. So begin to teach her I did. Much time passed while she meditated upon the mysteries that surround us every day, such as that even the smallest, most inconsequential worm under your feet has as much honor as the greatest paladin in the land. For does he not toil in his tasks as he must, and does he not defend what he knows against all oppressors? Is that not honor?
I nodded my head in assent. I had heard such talking when holding my own form of court in all of those taverns so long ago. A mage would come in fresh from his training and start spouting off about all that he had learned. Listening to them gave me a small knowledge in the ways of magic, and I was not upset to have heard it.
In that time, we married. And in that time, I still grew in power, until the day I was called to present myself to Garanon, chief mage to King Heston himself. Was I frightened of it? Aye, that I was, and for good reason. I had not expected this call, and I worried that I had perhaps dishonored myself in some way and was being called to court about it. I could not imagine what I could have done to deserve the attention. I kissed my wife goodbye on the morning of my departure, and I left her in the care of her father, knowing that there she would be the safest from any troubles. Her spellbook was full, and she knew where the ingredients to the spells could be found, so I dallied only a short time before I knew I had to go. She told me to fear not as she kissed me on my cheek, and with that, I was on my way. A long while it took me to reach center, and a hard trip it was. Nearly every day I was troubled by brigands, and on more than a few occasions I had to run for my life. It would always take time to find the road again. I also noted the proliferation of undead creatures that walked the land. Nightly I would wake up to chills passing over me as a spirit made its way past me to some unknown destination. I would stoke the fire higher at those moments, for even though I knew what they were, and I could see them most of the time, I still worried that some evil fate would befall me in my slumber. Finally, I arrived at the great city, and I was grateful to see the walls surrounding her. I knew I made a haggard sight. In my haste to reach the safety of the city, I had not stopped to bathe in nearly a week, and a sorry sight indeed I was. Before making an appearance at court, I spent the evening in an inn and made good the use of the warm waters they had available to clean myself up. The good night's sleep didn't hurt any either. So it was that I went to court, and I met the great mage himself, surrounded by the elite of King Heston's guards. And I soon came to find out that I was not in trouble. Indeed, the opposite was true. He had heard of my abilities through his network of assistants and had use for me. Pleased I was at this, and pride swelled in me to know that I could be of use to someone as powerful as this mage.
He went on to describe to me how the forces of evil had been growing swiftly in the world, and I knew well of what he spoke, for I remembered it myself. A very troubling time it had been for our land then, and I had even heard that my own beloved Leannon was beginning to come under attack from trolls that we had thought we pushed far away from the city. Some time ago that had been, and I shuddered within myself as I remembered the trials and the horrors that I had seen then. But it didn't last long as silence continued his tale, and I listened, closer perhaps than before, keeping at bay some of my own memories with his own.
My home was near Dretzig, and the mage had heard that trouble was coming straight for that glorious city, and with that I began to grow nervous. I had left my wife almost straight in the path of the creatures that were making their way there. A few weeks it had taken me to make it to center, and I feared that somehow something terrible had already happened. I felt it as a dread in my spirit, and as the feeling expanded, I came to know that it had to be true. I spoke it to Grannon, and sensing my terror, he bade me wait a moment. Away I wanted to be, and swiftly, but I kept still, knowing the old mage would rush to whatever he was doing. At the end of a time of an eternity, it seemed, he returned with a small circlet of wood, and I understood it to be a rune of power, a rune of travel. I remember thinking to myself that if I had had one that had been arcanely marked for center, my travel time would have considerably been reduced. But alas, I had none myself. I had traveled little before that time, and when I hadn't yet had the ability to mark such runes.
This will take you near Dretzig, though not in the heart of the city itself. It is unclear to me whether it has already come into its time of trial. This should carry you safely to your love.
He extended his hand, and I could see the glimmer of mage light on the wood, and I grasped it in my own. Before letting it go, however, he looked into my eyes, and in his I could see something, as if he already knew what was to be. And perhaps he did. I have heard that Garanon has seen to nearly the end of our world, so I suppose anything is possible. Still, he let it go, and I set to immediately, bringing out from my pouch at my waist the ingredients needed to bind the spell together. And I began to concentrate on the words of power that would allow me to travel instantly to the spot that the rune marked. As the mage light around me increased, and I saw the world transforming around me, I glanced once again into the eyes of the great mage, and I swear I saw tears.
Silence stopped talking, and I waited for him to continue, not knowing what to say about what I'd heard so far. I think I expected the outcome of his travels, but I just wanted to hear it from him. I noticed that the wind had stopped blowing and the fire had begun to recede some. Did it seem to be noticeably darker? I thought so, as if it had become a tangible being that had come out to our camp and warmed itself at the fire. I glanced over at my horse and I saw her asleep on her feet. Now, she had been a good animal in the time that I had had her, and she was skittish of things approaching, and so seeing her relaxed, I was able to calm my nerves, attributing it to the duskiness of the story. Finally, Silence drew a deep breath and continued on, though his voice seemed a little different.
When I arrived, I knew I was near my home. Whether Garanon intended that, or if it was an odd coincidence, I don't know. Knowing the power and resources of the mage, I would guess intentional. I cared little at that time, but I ran the few miles to my father-in-law's house. I wish now that I had never come back. Oh, the house was there. The bulls and the cows and the pigs were there, as was my wife's father, or at least his head, staked outside the doorway to his home. I think I went numb for a while. I know I am now, or at least I pretend to be. I searched frantically, hoping to find her, and yet seeing once again her father's head outside, hoping that I wouldn't. I think I even railed against him, trying to goad him into answering my pleas. I remember coming to my senses sometime later with blood on my hands, and I knew it wasn't my own. Did I find her? Thankfully, no. Though, in truth, I think it would have been better if it had been so. Does that sound terrible? If so, Lord, I am sorry, but not knowing was harder than anything I have ever dealt with in my sad life.
I think I understood that, and I told him so. See, I too have lived without knowing, and it's been the hardest thing I myself have had to do. He smiled a bit, maybe finding a modicum of comfort in that. And of that, I guess I can say I'm glad.
Knowing little else to do, I made my way to Dretzig, not realizing what I would find when I got there would be a nightmare come to life. Aye, there they all were, the masses of undead creatures, in all their terrible, cold hideousness. Outside the gates and in, bodies crammed together to make a fleshy wall blocking entry to the city from any that would try to save her. I could hear cries, wailing so inhuman that I could not tell whether they were from some that were alive, or if it was those that had kept them trapped. My blood stood cold in my veins, and I knew, for the first time in my life, true fear.
I remembered that feeling as well, for I too had seen that mass. A more terrible sight I have yet to encounter, and I can only pray I never do, for in that moment, I nearly lost control of my sanity. Only many years of passing and many good friends since have begun to allow me to try to forget it. And unless you were there, you'll never understand.
I hid behind a tree near the gates of the city, watching the activity happening inside. I know not how long I stood there, dread fascination filling me as I took it all in. Once in a while I would see someone alive pass me. Once it was a knight, armor gleaming in the sunlight and sword in hand, followed by his comrades.
We are the righteous. We are the virtuous. And we will not back down. It is time to prepare for battle.
They swept into the wall, trying with their entire valor to break through the line that stood there. I could see pieces of bone, flesh, and the blood as well as it flew off the decayed walking corpses. And though for a few moments it looked as if they would make it through, a bright fire consuming them brought them down. I could hear the insane laughter of one of those overlords of the undead, the horrifying lich. Thankfully, I saw it not. Their corpses were swiftly torn to shreds, and I saw them no more.
I could tell Silence was soon going to be sick. The memory was that potent in him still. But the moment passed, and he composed himself once again to speak.
It was not long after that, I think, that I fell asleep. It was a fitful one, but sleep it was. The dreams that came to me I blessedly remember not. I awoke, however, to the touch of cold, and before I could come fully coherent, I was bound and gagged by hands that I can still feel on my skin. I opened my eyes to see the decayed face of a man before me, lips gone some time ago, making a ghastly grin. I was forced to my feet and then mercifully was struck a blow to the back of my head, and I knew no more until I reawakened and I saw her.
Silence sat up straight then, and I could see his eyes clearly, though the light from the fire seemed dimmer yet. They shone with a fire, almost anger, and I began to grow a little fearful in my heart of him. But then he spoke on.
Her hair, her face, all seemed the same. And her body? It was as well. But her eyes, oh, those eyes that once gleamed with a love for me that I never thought could be matched. And a spirit as beautiful as the sun shining off the dew in the morning, those were gone now. What took their place was an abomination to all I had ever stood for, and I thought her as well, only to be a lie.
His tears began to flow again, and I knew his pain. I could feel it exuding off of him like a sweat. I could smell it in the air, but I couldn't speak. It was as if my lips were bound, though I had so many words I wanted to say to Silence. I couldn't open them to let them loose. Had a spell been cast on me? The darkness was becoming tangible enough I could touch it.
What has become of you, my lady of the sun? As she smiled at me, a hard, cold, and loveless smile.
I am that no more, husband.
She nearly spat that word out.
I am so much more. I thank you for teaching me what I needed to know, though I knew it already.
I was confused at that, though it became clear enough with her next words.
I was a lost sheep for a time, though I knew it not then. I remember now my plans, and I remember what I have come to do.
I saw Silence's head begin to hang lower as he spoke those words that she said, and I knew it to be shame that he felt.
You are the one I love. I said those words to her, hoping she would realize that what I spoke was the truth. I was such a fool. I told her I would do anything for you.
This I know, as I have known it all along.
Her smile gleamed once again, and her eyes lifted up to face the doorway I had apparently been brought into. I could see something there in her eyes, something that spoke of what was really behind me. I could feel its presence now, and the evil that surrounded it was as real as your hand is to you now. I risked a glance behind me. I saw it standing there. It was translucent, human in shape and stature, and I knew it to be a lich. From the power I could feel emanating from it, I knew it to be of the highest order.
And you shall fulfill your promise to her, human. Come, man, and add to her power. Add to my power. Add to the might of Aranax.
It spoke the words, and I knew I was doomed.
I gasped at that name, and I began to understand it all. I began to know what it was that was happening to me, and I was horrified at its implications. I tried to stand, but my hands, my arms, my legs, they were all bound tight in a magic web of his story, and it was in that moment I knew true terror. I think I screamed a little, though I could still speak not. If anything, it was as quiet as the squeak of a mouse that has been caught in a hawk's jaws. That name, that horrifying name, the being that has come to try to destroy our world. How could this be?
I looked back at my wife, the one I had loved for so long and I knew to be of pure heart, and I saw in her hands the mystic energies surrounding the knife. I screamed her name as it entered my chest. I screamed at the insanity of it all. I screamed in the face of all I had ever held dear to me, my honor, my vitality, my magical powers that had done absolutely nothing to save me. Most of all, I screamed at my death, and her name was the last thing on my lips. Streth.
The bonds let loose from me then, and I swiftly stood and I backed away from this thing that I had spent the night with, this being that was both tortured and cruel. But it came at me not. It just spoke again. This time, not so gently. This time, not easy. It spat the words at me in anger and frustration and in the horror of its own death.
Go now, Bard, and tell the world of my story. Go now, Bard, and sing the song of dread to those who would hear it, and let them know that she still wants this world. Garanon may have kept it safe for now, but she will come again, and may the gods have mercy on the next fool that crosses her path.
And with that, he vanished, and with him, the darkness and the cold. And it was then that I realized it was a warm spring day dawning. I ask myself now why it was me that Silence had decided to speak to. Was it that he knew me for a teller of tales, or was there another reason? If I were honest with myself, I could find correlations in his story and my own long saga. I mean, was that all? I knew the answer not then, and I know not now, though it is a few years since then that I stand here in the same spot that night that lasted months took place. No spots remain of the camp we had made that night. To the world of nature, that time is forever ago, but to me, it's as if it were just hours ago, and I can still feel the darkness binding my lips. Perhaps by writing it down and by speaking it aloud, it might be easier heard. Will anyone believe me? I don't care. I know the history books speak different of that time and that place and that cataclysm. But that's sometimes how it goes. Unless you were there, you'll never know.
The walls must crumble before we advance. The darkness finds us before we seek out the light. True strength comes from loss. The only reason I know a good like love.
Well, there you go. The Tale of the Mage. I really like how that one came out, and Jolene did such a great job on like the voice work and that laugh. Oh gosh, she gave me chills doing it. I was like, yes, that's gonna be perfect. That's gonna be perfect. I love it. So yeah. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. So I am at the point where I am getting really hungry. I need to eat, and if I don't eat, we're gonna all be in a bit of trouble. And I think that I've kind of reached a point on the painting itself where I can consider it done, at least for now. Otherwise, I'm just gonna like keep on rendering it badly, to say the least. So with that in mind, I think that I'm going to drop us out here. We're going to raid out to another artist. We'll pass the artsy fartsies over to another artist. And this one in particular, he's a lot of fun. He's a good guy. I really like hanging out in his chats and stuff and watching the stuff that he does. His name is Simon Red. And I think that he's actually going for partnership at this point. I don't know if he's made it there yet. I don't think he has. But yeah, let me hit this here. I think that's it. Did I type it correctly? I did, yes. Okay, so we will pass you guys over to Simon Red. I hope that you guys will give him as much love that you guys have given to me. And for all the new followers tonight, I appreciate you guys coming in and joining in with story time and with paint time. And thank you again to Croco Gold for the raid. I so deeply appreciate it. And again, if you guys ever need any kind of like advice or anything along those lines as far as audio goes, we had a big discussion about audio earlier. Just ask. I'm happy to talk about it. I love talking about audio. I love dealing with anything along those lines. I've been doing it for years, and it's something that I have a deep passion for. And if you have any questions about painting or anything along those lines too, please hit me up with it. I'm happy to discuss all of that kind of good stuff. So I will probably be streaming again tomorrow. I have no doubts about it. Whether it'll be painting or something else, I don't know. But it'll be hopefully fun for you guys either way. So I love all of you. I thank you deeply for spending even a few moments with me tonight. I know how precious time is for people, and the fact that you guys have chosen to be here in this moment in time with me, I am extremely grateful for, and I am aware that it's a sacrifice to you of time. And yeah, I hope that you guys have gotten as much out of it as I have. Well, I love and adore the heck out of you, Fox and Bull, both of you. You guys have made a big difference in my life, that's for sure. So, okay, well, let's, and moi to Ali. You know I love you. You're my favorite youngest kiddo ever. All right, let's go ahead and head over to Simon, and we'll take you to the YouTube outro here and have some fun. Thank you guys so much for being here. We will talk to you again soon.
Incoming customer detected.
Keep your eyes open, boys.
We need to have a serious talk.